My stepmom stole all the food in our house, then called CPS on us?
What kind of plot?
I am shaking. So we had a lot going on lately. My husband drives a truck and his work slows way down during the winter to the point we had to take out a loan just to make utility payments. On top of that, I've been dealing with PPD since birth of DS2, almost 6 months, and we found out about 2 weeks ago that I'm pregnant again, just like Panda Manda. By the way, this comes from Petrichor Luna, and if you want to submit your own stories, please go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So in desperation, I posted on the food pantry sub, and the response was amazing. We got so much food, I cried for days. I went to my doctor, and we agreed that I need some help, so I started on an antidepressant. I accepted the idea of another baby, even if it was sooner than we wanted, and began to get excited. I was finally in a good place. I had my first OB appointment yesterday morning, but we couldn't see the baby on the ultrasound, just the gestational sac. Ladies, mothers,
Sophia.
what does that even mean?
So the
pouch.
Pouch? Did you just call it a pouch?
My OB was really positive and said it may be too early to see, but she also mentioned the possibility of a blighted ovum.
Yeah, Kimberly finds it's like baby shrink wrap. Yeah, it's the thing that's like around the baby.
That's what I thought. It was, baby shrink wrap. That basically means that something went wrong and the baby never developed. There's not really a cause, just bad luck. I know it seems silly, given how upset I originally was about being pregnant, but I was absolutely devastated.
Aww.
I sat in my car and cried with my husband for a long time before I went to my mom's to pick up the boys.
So it seems like it's basically a false pregnancy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We got home to find all of the food in our pantry gone. All that was left was some dry pasta sauce and a few cans of tuna. The baby formula was gone. The baby food and diapers were gone. The packs of wipes reliefs were gone. All the veggies out of the fridge were gone. There was just milk and leftovers.
Why'd she leave the milk?
The doors were still locked, and there were no signs of a break-in. The only person with a key is my dad. I truly believe my dad didn't know anything about it, but when I told my stepmom about the food we were sent, she got vile. She started going off about how we shouldn't have kids if we can't take care of them ourselves, and demanded we give them custody of the boys immediately. I was honestly shocked. She's been Beck before when we would ask them to watch the kids so we could go see a movie or something. Parents don't get to do that. The babies have to come first. But she has never been anywhere near this level. My dad stepped in, told her to shut the F up, and we left. In shock, but sure it was over.
That's insane. That's like you go no contact with that person.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked that the dad didn't immediately divorce her.
Of course, I called and confronted her yesterday, and she denied everything. I called my dad, and he confirmed that she hadn't brought any food into the house and didn't think she would do that. But he still asked me not to file a police report until he talked to her. I figured she would have very easily thrown it all out somewhere, but I decided I needed to file a police report anyways, even though they'll never be able to prove it was her, because this was a very clear attempt to endanger my kids. Thank God I did. CPS knocked on my door at 10 this morning saying they had received a call the day before about an unfit living conditions, namely a lack of food. I had the police report to show them, along with half a can of formula, some baby food, etc., out of the diaper bag. The lady seemed genuinely understanding when I explained the situation. I told her the food had come from friends, not strangers on the internet. She did ask if I had any relatives that could keep the kids if they did end up having to remove them temporarily, which I found very strange.
They're being set up. That's so weird. It's like clear that the stepmom was like, hey, I can take in the kids. They're not being fed. And then this CPS person shows up. This is like you need to never talk to these people again.
Kind of whack.
You can do this from the husband's perspective, and it's still mother-in-law.
Yeah, it's about the husband now.
It's about the husband. That's not something I would expect CPS to ask. I made sure to specify that I would want them placed with my mom and not my father in light of everything that has happened. She assured me that she didn't think anything would come of it, but that she would be following up in a week or so to see that we had the situation resolved. I'm absolutely beside myself right now. I never had a good relationship with this woman growing up, but she always seemed to really have the kids' best interest at heart. She absolutely dotes on them and has previously been very helpful. So I'm just trying to understand the stepmother's motive here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. She hates OP and she wants to steal the kids. She seems crazy.
Is that really it? But what do you get out of stealing the kids?
I don't know. I think she's just crazy.
That part. Yeah.
I think she's just like, sometimes people's motives are that they're just crazy and weird. Yeah.
Mm.
I think a lot of people are saying lawyer. Oh, Caitlin McComas says, is CPS real? And Goth Princess says,
I thought
fake
that too.
CPS. Yeah. Did they
I
send
thought that
a
too.
random
Can I get your CPS
credentials?
file number?
Do you have CPS credentials?
Can I get your number? They helped me with the daycare for my oldest while I still worked and even brought formula for them when he was just a baby and we were really struggling. I don't want to believe she would do something like this, but I honestly see no other explanation. We've changed the locks already, but I have no idea where to go from here. My oldest was supposed to stay with them this weekend, which clearly won't be happening, but he's 4 and doesn't understand why. I could really use any advice from you guys that you have for me. We got an update. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Live stream your house.
Yeah. Live stream
I don't
your
do that,
house
but-
24/7.
Yeah. I do it. I live stream my house. Would you live stream your front door?
No.
Would you
Would you live
stream
stream
downstairs?
the master bedroom?
The master bedroom?
This is the master bedroom.
Listen, there's a lot of things going on right now.
Update. First and foremost, thank you all for so much. Blah, 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 blah. She's a hateful person. Okay, maybe that might be good. It's just, everyone's like, thank you so much for all your help and support. I'm like, update, T-girl. First and foremost, thank you all for the overwhelming response. I wrote my post yesterday from a really dark place, feeling as if I somehow had failed my boys by allowing someone so evil in their lives. I felt as if I should have somehow known. Someone protected them from her. You all reminded me that she's just a hateful, vile person. It got to the point that I simply couldn't keep up with the comments. But please feel free to personal message me if you want to make sure I see something. I really appreciate all the support and everything reaching out through. Okay, I should have just got here. Update. I did reach out to CPS today. That was an interesting call. Without going into a lot of details, the case is legit. The supervisor I spoke with is extremely kind and professional. I explained that I was asking because someone had stolen our food before the call was made, and I simply wanted to be sure that it was an actual CPS worker, as I had been pretty flustered when she showed up. She was shocked when I said that the worker had simply shown up, as it's apparently their policy to call beforehand to arrange a time that doesn't inconvenience the family when it isn't an emergency abuse call.
And they just showed up. They just freaking showed up.
Because the stepmom probably knows somebody.
Yeah.
Like-
Or is this
she
was that
probably
even
lied.
a CPS worker at all?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she lied and she's like, oh yeah, you can come whenever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll be home.
She agreed with me that several things were handled very unprofessionally. I was able to confirm that my follow-up will be next Friday, and she told me that she is assigning a new agent to our case.
Okay, so it seems like this was a real agent, but just a very unprofessional one.
Yeah.
Maybe the mother-in-law does have an in at the CPS or something. Or sorry, the stepmother has an as an in.
I
at the
think so.
CPS.
I think she's trying to
Nice.
scare her, or
Yeah.
I don't know, trying to find. Because let's say the CPS worker showed up and saw like a clear sign of abuse. They could have took the kids out then.
Yeah.
Like she had every right to, but I don't
There's
know.
clearly not.
She was trying to catch her in the act. I don't know.
Mhm.
Ugh. She also told me that she'll be investigating that agent, but I'm not sure if I really believe that will happen. I'm happy to have a different agent anyways. She said that as long as they get there and we have plenty of food, the case will be closed because everything seemed perfect, but to go ahead and have their doctor records ready so that they can be on file. I went to the boys' pediatrician today and got triple copies of their records. On Monday, I'm going to the office, bringing in the records and leaving with a copy of the report. Also, I miss my pediatrician, Dr. Zubox. He was so cool. He was like real with me. He was like, hey,
What do
man.
you mean he was real with you? I would hope he was real with you.
He's like, hey, man, how's your sex life?
What?
I'm like, dude, nothing's happening. He's like, good. If that ever does, like, you're smart. Be smart. He's like, you smoking? I'm like, I'm not smoking. He's like, okay, good. He just was like always checking in on me. He was a good guy.
How you doing,
So
dude?
he was doing his job.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
to go to the doctors.
He's just really
Not for
kind.
anything, I just need a checkup.
It's shocking. Me and my brother have noticed this. If anyone's like kind to us, we're like, dude, this man is like the freaking guy.
This man's the best.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't
funny.
take much. We have low bars. Okay, anyways. One copy of the records will be going in our fireproof document safe at home. Do you have yours in your fireproof document safe? I do.
What?
I have a fireproof document safe
You have a safe?
of my documents that are
Oh.
fireproof.
That's nice.
You might need that, especially living in California. That was like the first thing I
true.
got living in
Well,
California.
I bring them with me.
Oh no,
they're
my house
always
is
on
on
me.
fire. Let me go grab my documents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're burning, they're burning.
What do you?
I'm not. I'd have to go all the way to North Carolina to get a new birth certificate.
Oh well, I don't know what my birth certificate is.
You don't have to worry about it. She's
With
not.
my
She's not
parents.
adulting yet. She's almost
You
there.
need to
Why
know
would
where
I?
it's
Why
at.
would I have my birth certificate on me? That's like
It's
my parents'
important.
thing.
No,
I didn't give birth to myself. They gave birth to me. My mom's super great with documents. She's probably got it in a file somewhere.
when
I'm
will?
shocked.
What? At what age are you going to get your documents?
I don't need them. Never. I don't. Ever want
Sophia,
one.
for you guys.
Okay, my mom is a much better person to have control of my documents than I am. That's a fact. You can't argue with that.
I'm not arguing. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like this is the way you function. I function differently.
That's true.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
And another copy in the fireproof document safe at my mom's house to be moved to a safe deposit box as soon as they're able. My dad has been the most disappointing part of this saga. He absolutely refuses to believe that my stepmom would do this and has called several times, furious, going on about how much my accusations have upset her and demanding I apologize. I finally told him I was picking up the CPS report on Monday and will call him then to arrange a place to meet her and talk about the Hamburglar. My favorite name for her, shout out to the brilliant user who suggested it, blah, 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 blah. My poor husband was out of town for work all week while all of this was going on. I feel like every time I call him this week, something tragic was happening. From my OB appointment, the break-in, to the CPS visit. Oh, and he can't be there because he's working.
Dang.
Oh,
Dang it.
that sucks. I didn't even really get to talk to him today between going on hold with CPS, running around to doctors, and fighting with my dad. When this angel got home tonight, he had stopped on the way from his truck to buy me a $2 bath bomb out of his food money and promptly put me into a hot candlelit tub.
That's really
That's
sweet.
cute.
That's really cute. I love
My
that.
man. My
That's a
freaking man.
That's a man right there. Hope he's-
Taking notes.
Yeah. Give me a bath bomb.
He put the kids to bed, rubbed my feet, and painted my toenails.
Damn.
What? This guy.
Damn. Like OP has the worst stepmom in the world, but she's got a man.
That's right.
She got a prince. This is a king.
Mhm.
This guy's knows how to treat his queen.
He held me as I cried and celebrated with me when I told him about the overwhelming support received when I shared our story. He specifically told me to tell you guys that he's incredibly thankful for you all being there when he couldn't be. He is being an absolute rock star right now. He's currently doing the laundry and dishes that have been neglected for the past few days while I binge Game of Thrones and Reddit. I'm really so grateful for the support you guys have given me. This community is overwhelming. I'll probably never get to every comment, but please feel free to PM me. Having people in the sub to talk to today has helped me so much. You all are the absolute best. Edit to add. Sorry, she was just talking about how great everyone was. And I
Don't care.
felt left out because it wasn't about us.
It's not about me that I don't want to know.
Edit to add that I'm being lovely sent to bed to catch up on some much needed sleep. So I will respond to you all lovely people in the morning. Update 2.
Woo!
The Hamburglar strikes again.
Oh no. We need to get some sort of restraining order on this woman.
Yep.
You need to call the police and say this woman stole my stuff. I mean, you probably don't. It seems you don't have proof, but you could be like, hey, I want someone to keep an eye out on her.
Dude,
Get some cameras up there.
I think you're missing out on your childhood. Well, you didn't get to watch TV. This is what we got to do, Sophia.
Yeah.
You got a Home Alone your house
Yeah.
or Tom and Jerry your house.
I watched Tom and Jerry.
Really?
Yeah, which one's Tom, which one's Jerry?
What?
Yeah, which one's Tom, which one's
Tom's
Jerry?
the cat. Everyone knows that.
She passed, guys.
Tom and Jerry.
We're doing that. We
Yeah.
got a box outside. Okay,
Yeah.
if they're going to steal the box from outside, we're going to have a box and then right underneath it, a big hole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or like box and then like something hits them on the head.
Bonk. They
Exactly.
get freaking bonked.
Or a box
Or a box
electrocuted.
and they open it and there's bees in it.
And they go running. Ah! They do the Tom
Yeah.
scream.
And it's like,
Do the
Ouch!
Ouch!
that was pretty good.
Thank you.
I was impressed by that.
Thank you. I'll
Yeah.
work on it. I want to get that down. That'll
Yeah.
be my party
You gotta
trick.
do that like the scream one.
How does it go?
It goes ah.
Alright.
Yeah, look at
It's
a crazy
I'm gonna read the
scream.
comments. Cyrilina Linnea says, "Yep, she definitely needs door cam." Kat says, "Change your freaking locks." Caitlin in comment says, "Oh, so the hamburger is a porch pirate too." Yeah, she's gonna steal your Amazon things, your packages. Kimberly finds has got a road runner in it.
Yeah, bro. Yo, someone's gonna call CPS on
man.
us.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, who's screaming in that house?
All right.
Let's get into this.
Update 2, the Hamburglar strikes again. When I moved my
Ooh.
update to r/letters to JNMLMIP, promised you guys a Hamburglar related update today, but I thought I might be sharing a phone call since she was blowing up my phone at breakfast. That's a doozy one. So my angel of a mother is just as broke as we are, but does have the benefit of a full pantry. She has been inviting us over for practically every meal the last couple of days. And she only lives about 10 minutes away, so we've been taking her up on the offer a lot. This morning, we were treated to a giant platter of homemade French toast that was heavenly.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Hamburglar was blowing up my phone for the 2 hours we were there, which is actually the first time she's attempted to make contact since I first confronted her about stealing our food. I refused to let her ruin my morning and put my phone on silent. We made our way back about 10 a.m., fat and happy, to a screeching harpy on our porch.
Oh no.
Do the screech.
What's a harpy?
It's like a bird woman. It's basically just like a
It's
hag.
like a mythological creature.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
Or like also
yeah.
I love
In
it.
mythology, it's like a bird woman.
mythology. Yeah.
Sorry, Jan, about your dog. Sorry, Miming, I won't wake up your kids. Just turn it down. Hamburglar was on the porch with the original social service workers.
Oh, the maybe fake lady.
Ooh, I have no idea if this is a friend of hers or some poor woman who the witch has sunk her claws into, but I do know that Hamburglar seems to have a direct line to her instead of the CPS office, and apparently has enough to pull to have her at my house at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
She's got an in with the CPS lady. That's the only possible option here.
You know
she's
who-
got an in.
You know who I'm calling right now?
Who?
That agent,
Ghostbusters.
that supervisor we talked
Yeah,
to.
yeah. You
I
say,
was so
hey, CPS lady's at my office or at my house.
And
What's
Dredd,
going
I
on?
did watch you, But yeah, no, they did do that.
Why was
I
that?
immediately sank down into the seat with a chorus of F, 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 F. So, dear husband parked behind Hamburglar in our very narrow driveway, thank goodness, and went out to confront her. From the car, I could hear her screeching about the locks being changed, which immediately told me she was trying to get into my house again. Dear husband said something I couldn't hear because he wasn't screaming like a lunatic. He later told me he said we changed them so she couldn't steal anything else from our children. And she slapped him.
Oh.
Whoa, this is a crazy mother-in-law story.
Guys, my husband is a 6'2", 250-pound teddy bear. He has never in his life dreamed of laying a hand on another person. He doesn't even like to discipline the 4-year-old because the kids cry when you put them in timeout. I saw red. I got out of the car and immediately started across the yard to be intercepted by the social service lady halfway across. I told her, rather rudely I'll admit, that I had been informed she was no longer on my case and asked her what the heck she was doing on my property when no one was home. She then told me that the only reason no one was home was because she had fled after she was called.
They had fled? How would they have fled? They didn't know you were coming.
Also, you probably got the wrong number if no one's picking up.
Yeah. What? Then she's like, you fled. And they were like, no, we were at work, girl.
Yeah, no, I'm getting my phone out right now
Yeah.
and recording
I'm
all of this
Yes.
and then reporting you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying you were off the case. Why are you at my house?
Absolutely. What? Yeah, Jan Digital, I wish they also had cameras.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I told her no one had been there when we left for breakfast before 8 that morning, and the dumb witch laughed at me. Apparently, she got a call from Hamburglar around 9, and I was the old 1-2ing my 4-year-old in the face
Oh my
repeatedly
God.
to the point of bleeding, and we left after hearing her make the call so that we wouldn't be there when she arrived.
Okay, literally just show the 4-year-old. Be like, does this 4-year-old look fine?
I'm like picking the 4-year-old up by the collar of the shirt. Look at him.
Scruff. Look at this 4-year-old. Is he bleeding? No.
He looks fine. Dear husband heard her say this and started at the yard again right about the time she was telling me I needed to get the kids out of the car so she could examine them.
God.
Dear husband positioned himself between her and the car and told her under no circumstances were the kids leaving the car while they were on the property. Hamburglar noticed that no one was paying attention to her and took the opportunity to sprint past us to the car where the kids were and still sitting buckled in their seats. Impressive, really, since she must be at least 300 pounds. When she realized the doors were locked, she began beating on the window right next to my 4-year-old's face with 2 closed fists, screeching, DS1, open the door for Meemaw. Now he's still buckled to a 5-point harness and the doors are child locked. There's absolutely no way he's letting her into the car. But there is a very real possibility of her showering my toddler in glass.
Because she's
Oh,
banging so
she's
strong.
banging the
I'm
thing.
sorry. If you as a CPS worker
Or
like a
allowing this to
real
happen?
CPS worker saw that, you'd be like, oh, that woman's crazy. I should call the police. She's not a real CPS worker, or if she is, she's a freaking horrible one. And she's working with this stepmother. Like, this is a stepmother's friend or something.
Do you want to see what a harpy looks like, Riley?
Yes.
Okay,
You
well,
picked a
that's
bad
kinda-
picture.
Yeah, why did you pick that one?
Why did you, dude?
That's
Come on.
that's the one that was literally from like D&D.
Yeah.
Okay,
of
but,
course.
like,
that's not like the
there's
mythological one.
Listen, that is a mythological one.
Nah,
Yeah, but,
that's-
like,
that's
we're on
the-
YouTube
the
right now.
Spicy one.
Nothing came up.
That's like the
YouTube
spicy one, man.
is like not about it.
That's what harpies look like.
That's literally.
Yeah, okay,
what
I believe you, but
harpies
you
look
coulda-
like.
you want another one then? Here.
That's what I'm
That looks
thinking.
like a chicken, bro.
Hell yeah.
Bro, that's jigging.
That's it. That's
That
a harpy.
screeches.
Frank the Pug says sometimes CPS tries to find any excuse. One of my kids had an accident at 3 years old, and the hospital called CPS, and they tried to say I was neglectful due to the proximity of my bedroom. WTF?
Yeah.
Kids have accidents. That's gonna happen.
Dude, my brother one time, Ryder, like, had an accident in the bedroom where he was bleeding from his mouth because he tripped and fell on something.
What?
They just somehow do that to themselves.
Yeah. I like when I was little, I was jumping on the couch and I smacked into one of those like really pointy like doll houses. And I got like a huge egg on my forehead.
Aw.
It happened. I think I still it's very faint, but
Yeah, I
it's
can still see it.
What?
I was
Your head's just like-
I stood on a rocking
It's
chair.
3D layered.
Yeah. I stood on a rocking chair and broke my arm. Like, yeah.
How?
Kids, I was like 4 years old.
Mm. Can you call CPS on your brother? Because he broke my
don't-
arm once.
Your brother broke your arm?
Yep.
What? How?
We were wrestling, and he did a cool move where he like double bumped me, and I was like, oh my gosh, don't do it. And then he did, and then it broke my arm,
Oh,
and I had to
wow.
go. And I broke my arm when I was learning how to write in kindergarten, so that's why my
Dang.
handwriting's bad.
That sucks.
And it was also the day before my first soccer game, so I was out the season. I got injured right before the season started.
That sucks, man.
My first injury.
Don't even have to use your hands in soccer.
Well, they weren't allowed to let a 5-year-old with a
kids.
broken arm run around.
I'm kidding.
Dear husband again reacts quickly and pulls the crazy lady away from the car while I'm standing there in shock. Dear husband tells me the senile old bats, they have to leave the property immediately. And the CPS lady pipes up that she isn't leaving until she can be sure that she isn't leaving 2 children in an abusive and vulnerable situation. Dude, call the cops. Listen to me.
Literally.
Call the cops.
Call the cops.
They're
call that
witnessing this.
other
I'm so
CPS.
confused. They're
Yeah.
literally witnessing this
Yeah.
and like, what?
I asked her if she thought I was beating my toddler bloody. Why aren't the cops called? She told me that this was a CPS matter and not a police matter.
It's not a her
And I
matter.
laughed and told her I disagreed and I was calling the police and started walking down the driveway towards the Hamburglar's car to make a call. This prompted her to begin screaming, "Don't touch my car!" But, so what's in her car? I peer in the window and see a forking Amazon box with our name and address on it. So now I get to tell the cops that not only is she trespassing, she's also stealing our mail. We live less than 5 minutes from the police station, so as I'm making the call, dear husband decides she can't leave if she's blocked in and lets go of her. Well, she decided to shove me to the ground, get in her car, and drive through the yard, missing running me over maybe by foot. Dear husband sees what's happening, gets in front of her car, so she's between the house and our car, with dear husband in front of her and a chain link fence behind her. Naturally, she reverses into the fence right as the police cruiser is pulling up. I swear to the goodness of the Lord above, a completely different person got out of that car. From what moments ago was a very fat version of the Vampire's Bride from Van
Helsing.
becoming a startling hobbling. I can't read what? I'm hobbling grandmother with a bad box red dye job. It was unsettling. Because this is getting long, I'll try to condense the rest as much as I can. 1. We were horrible, abusive parents, but had threatened her and frightened her badly enough that she was trying to leave, but we wouldn't let her out. Our package was only in her car because she was worried about it being on the porch in such a bad neighborhood and wanted to keep it safe, but couldn't take it inside for us because we changed the locks. 3. The CPS worker repeated this story she had told us to the cops and said that she didn't leave when we told her because we refused to let her examine the child.
The CPS worker is a fraud.
4. The cops looked at my children and confirmed that no one had been beating anyone bloody. Hamburglar said she must have been mistaken,
Well, she's a freaking liar.
but didn't understand why we would have left before the CPS winch got there if we hadn't done anything. 5. Cops called my mom and confirmed the time we arrived at her house and left to her house. 6. Cops made Hamburglar return the package, then refused to charge her for mail theft because the package was returned unopened.
That's stupid.
7. She did tell her that I had made it very clear she wasn't welcomed here and she would be arrested for trespassing if she returned. Okay.
Finally.
8. Hamburglar and co. left and the cops asked us a few more uncomfortable questions about how our kids were treated. I'm sure it's policy when someone says a kid might be mistreated, but I was ready for the whole ordeal to be over with. So my mom will be staying at the house with me for the next few days to help me keep an eye out for my packages and make sure I'm not here by myself if she comes back. I look for the rest of the days, calm down, and figure out how to move forward. Since it was nearly 2 p.m. when the cops finally left, I'll be going up to the office first thing Monday morning to file a report against that CPS worker. And where's my dad in all of this? Radio silent.
I'm going no contact with his dad because, like, all of this happens and he's not even saying anything.
He's probably like, oh, I'm used to it.
He's like, oh, you know, your stepmom. No, I don't want to know
That's just
her.
how she is.
I don't want to know her. I don't want to see her around, sniff it around these parts ever again.
It sucks too that, like, how are we not able to charge this woman with more or anything like that?
Literally.
Makes no sense.
Like, she's a nuisance. Get a restraining order. I want her in jail. And I want the CPS worker fired. Call CPS again. Say this woman came back to my house, lied to the police. Get her fired.
I'm gonna need that. The package was a can of formula sent Saturday overnight delivery. So if that was someone here, we received it mostly safely. And update 3, the Hamburglar strikes again.
She strikes again, squared. Oh my goodness. This lady can't stop. She can't stop, won't stop. And I want her out of the story.
I'm still trying to figure out why she wants the kids. What is she getting out of
Trebuchet.
this?
I don't know. I think she's just crazy.
She sounds
I think she's just crazy. Sometimes people are just crazy and you need to load them into the trebuchet. Fling them into the sun.
I wish we could do a small interview with this woman and be like, hey, so like, why
You
is
do a
OP
60-minute style
yeah,
interview.
like I see that you say OP's like mistreating the kid. Like, what's going on? Why do you think this?
Yeah.
And we get her side, and then she we kind of friends with her, and she slowly unravels her evil plan, and we're like, ha!
Yeah,
I
she starts
see.
monologuing.
Boom.
Exactly. Exactly. Who's the
Freaking
guy in
Joe.
the interview? What's the guy's on 60 Minutes?
It's not Alex Trebek.
You know what I'm talking about? What's his name? Well, anyway.
Bill Whitaker.
Bill Whitaker.
I'm Bill Whitaker, and we're here with the Hamburglar for 60 minutes. Yeah.
Why do you
Screeching.
burgle
Yeah.
hams?
Why did you burgle the children?
Why are you burgling? All right. Update 3. Hamburger got what she wanted. Trigger warning,
Ooh.
pregnancy loss.
Okay, so if you don't like that, go to another story and come back.
Also, it seems like OP is technologically challenged. I'm going to start saying that to people when they don't understand how to use technology.
That they're technologically challenged.
I'm looking at
That'd
one
be
right
You
now.
did it today. That's not true.
Oh my gosh. You know it's true. Says the
I
person that
just-
uses Safari instead of Google Chrome. Like
it's
everyone
better.
else does.
It's better.
It's not better.
Literally better.
No, I saw you use it once and it messed up so many things.
At least she doesn't use Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
can't
that's not-
use it anymore.
I know.
OP accidentally deleted this whole post, so I'm internally screaming right now. Okay, anyone here who has read my post knows about the Hamburglar doesn't think me fit to raise children, to the point of trying to have our children taken away. For anyone wanting to know, our follow-up CPS visit was wonderful, and our case was closed.
Thank goodness.
We went to our follow-up for the possible blighted emblem to discover a happy and healthy babe who is just not quite as far along as we thought. We got to see a nice strong heartbeat and went home with some pictures. We felt confident enough that the only problem was an early scan that my husband went ahead and went out of state for work this weekend. I went back to my OB early this morning with mild cramping to find out that my baby has no heartbeat.
Aw.
I haven't even been able to reach my husband to tell him yet. I'm planning on scheduling a D&C when he gets home, but if something happens before, then he won't be here, and it's a 10-hour drive. He can't start until the morning. I'm scared and alone. OP, I'm so
and Opie's
sorry.
already still dealing with monster stepmom.
Dang it.
Step monster.
No, Riley, you just think that because tech problems always disappear when the tech-savvy person
It's
shows up to
true.
fix it.
Exactly.
Look,
Exactly.
okay, we did have, Sam had a technological problem with the blender. And I went over there and I did it and fixed it. I can tell you about it. With a blender, okay? I'm not really a tech-savvy person. I worked at a freaking sawmill.
No, but
I put lumber into different piles. That's what I grew up doing.
Sam's
Not a
good at-
computer.
Sam's good at tech. He's just not good at kitchen appliances. And those
Also,
are different
someone
things.
moved my kitchen appliance. I have one kitchen appliance
Which
in the
one?
house. You know which one? The panini press
Yeah, I
that my
probably-
beautiful girlfriend got me.
I probably moved it.
Why
up
did you move it?
Because it was in the way. I don't want it out there. You need to put it
Okay,
away.
well, I don't want some of your kitchen appliances out there.
My kitchen appliances. are
Hey,
clean and
mom,
pretty.
dad,
No. Mm-mm.
back
You
to the
need move
story.
it You can't just leave it out.
You
Mom,
leave so many of your kitchen
Because
appliances.
they
Dad?
don't fit.
I'll find a spot
mom,
Okay.
dad, Riley's mom, Sophia's dad.
And also,
Don't
I
touch my
put
panini
it,
press.
to be clear, I put it above. It literally moved
Don't
one
touch it.
place above.
Let's get to the
Put it
story.
away.
Hey, let's get to the
for
story.
you. Update 4, in which Hamburglar gets out of jail and back in 24 hours. Trigger warning, pregnancy loss, very heated remarks regarding a termination. Riley always saves the day when the stream goes haywire. I do. Or Eddie. Sometimes when it gets really bad, I have to call the super
Yeah,
pro.
Eddie comes in.
I
He
just seem
fixes
like the
it.
pro. No. Eddie is the pro. He taught me everything I know. Hello, all of you beautiful people. I'm so sorry that I haven't been updating here. So much has happened. So buckle up. It is a 10-hour drive long ride. I did manage to get a restraining order against the Hamburglar with some help of the CPS. Whoa. Let's go.
CPS helped
Full
you?
circle.
They helped you. They
Man.
just had a bad person there. Wow. Over the course of the last couple of months, original CPS lady lost her job too.
Woo!
We weren't the first time she had mistreated her power.
Thank goodness.
And Hamburglar ended up losing her mind in a spectacular way.
Thank goodness.
Scheduled another US a week after that went by while my husband was out of state for work and found out that the hemorrhage had grown. Dear husband drives a truck, so it was impossible to even get in touch with him that day until he got off work. Due to the size of the hemorrhage and the fact that I hadn't had any bleeding, I was going to have a D&C to prevent stepsis, and I didn't want to schedule anything without dear husband being there. So I left the OB, called my dad in a moment of weakness. I still regret. Months later, my dad was an angel, immediately supportive, and offered to come get the kids and watch them for as long as we needed. Thankfully, I turned him down as the kids were still with my mom since I had been put on bed rest until this appointment. I told him everything that had happened, including my current condition, and the impending procedure and the fact that I couldn't talk to dear husband until he got off work. So I was basically dealing with this alone. He told me to come out to their house, and I told him point blank that the last person I wanted to deal with then was Hamburglar, and he said he understood and dropped it. So, of course, he told Hamburglar what was going on. And of course, she proceeds to blow up dear husband's phone for 6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So when he gets off work, instead of immediately calling me as he would have, he called her first because he was afraid something had passed away.
No.
He had hundreds of missed calls from her. She answers the phone by screeching about how I am an unaliver. I went off when he was gone to get a pregnancy termination. Apparently, I have been planning this for weeks. Quotes in the air. Anyways.
Dude,
Are you
what?
insane? Is she insane?
Dude, what is wrong with this person?
The baby wasn't born with the heartbeat. You psycho.
Also,
Bro, she's a demon.
if you have a restraining order against someone,
Step
shouldn't you
demon.
also block them?
Yes. You block her.
Step demon.
Block her.
She's trying to
Literally
harass you
block
in
her.
any way, shape, and form.
Oh my God, block her.
This is
Jesus. Yeah, Josephine says, how is this dad still staying with this POS scum? I don't know.
ugh. He knew she was full of crap and hung up on her. Then called me, so I didn't even get to tell him on my way, in my own way. I had to explain that Hamburglar was effing witch and how she had come to that wildly different conclusion. I called my dad to tell him what she did, and as far as I know, he was pissed and promised we wouldn't be hearing from her again. I ended up getting the procedure scheduled for a week after the U.S., and luckily got the cameras we were gifted to set up before then, because we came home afterwards to our completely destroyed home. Jen Digital, she got the cameras.
Oh my. How does she
What?
not have cameras?
She does now. She set them up before it happened.
Okay, before it happened.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. She got the
Thank
cameras.
God. Okay.
Okay. This crazy witch busted through our window with a
What?
golf club
What?
that she would have had to buy for this expressive purpose because neither of them golf, and let herself in, then proceeded to destroy everything
Oh
we
my
own.
God.
She
What?
destroyed our TV, our Xbox, took a knife to
No.
our mattress, including the kids, and our brand new cow.
Not the couch.
She piled every piece of clothing she could find in the house, ours and the kids, in the middle of the living room, and covered them in bleach.
What?
Oh
Gallons
my God.
and gallons. I don't think we should read this because it might give some people ideas. Oh my gosh. She smashed every breakable thing she could find with the golf club, including the toilet, our dishes, every window in the house, everything. She shoved our AC unit out of the window to the ground, destroying it. She didn't touch the food though. So I guess the don't mess with our grandkids food lesson set in, but that was it. We got home to Hamburglar sprawled in the front yard, golf club in one hand and a bottle of my wine in the other, absolutely plastered, screaming about how I'm unaliving witch who hates children, trying to keep my babies from me. So we were also those weird people that collect liquor in weird, interesting bottles, and every single one was smashed in the yard around her. I'm not sure how many she tried to drink and how many she just broke, because she would have passed away if she had drank them all, but she had clearly drank plenty.
Bro, this is probably one of the worst stepmoms we've ever read about.
Dude, worst crash out I have ever seen
That
on
is a
this
crash
channel.
That's a crash out. That's the crash out.
Imagine coming in this room and seeing all of the monitors, all the cameras, all the windows, couches just torn up, completely gone.
And someone's in here with like surrounded by wine bottles and be like, yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely getting.
I mean, she's going to jail for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I'm looking
but like,
at Dad.
how do you get all of this? Like, hopefully you had insurance or something. But how do you? Maybe you take her to, like, it's a criminal case, like a vandalism case, and maybe she has to pay the fine for all of this.
Yeah. Also,
She needs to pay
Cheryl,
all
good
that.
point. It's surprising that no neighbors called the police,
That is
especially if
shocking.
they were in a bad neighborhood or in
That
a neighborhood
is
at all.
shocking. And also, what was the mother? I thought the mother was there. OP said like her
Mm-mm.
mother was staying with her. Did she leave?
She was probably staying with her for those couple of days then, and then went back home.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, not doing. She didn't even get up out of the grass to actually engage us. just laid there and yelled, I guess trying to make sure the whole neighborhood knew how awful I was. So dear husband calls the cops while I sit there and listen to her screech about how I'm going to HE double hockey sticks, how I unalived my children because I can't handle the responsibility of being a parent.
OP is a parent.
I am a baby unaliver. I should have just passed away instead because she would have raised my baby and ad nauseum.
This lady is crazy.
She was honestly just repeating the exact same things over and over and over and over and over. Meanwhile, I just had a D&C for a miscarriage maybe an hour ago.
Dude,
And
can
I'm
you
dealing with the
imagine?
pain of losing a very wanted pregnancy, and she's here
Oh my
spewing her
goodness.
life BS at me.
Bro,
Oh
OP.
Where is the dad? Like, this lady's obviously crazy, but where is the dad in all of this?
This is psycho behavior.
Truly.
We gotta lock
Truly.
this woman up.
Yeah.
We gotta lock her up and then tell every single inmate in there what she did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
She's crazy.
After about 20 minutes of this, the cops show up. Dear husband finally goes inside with one officer while the other stays outside with Hamburglar and me and actually sees the extent of the damage. Meanwhile, the cop outside listens to Hamburglar for a few minutes, then turns to me and says, are you sure you want to press charges? I mean, I can get her for wasted and disorderly, but there's no proof she actually did anything. And I said, well, all of my windows are smashed. She's holding a golf club. And that's my bottle collection in pieces around her. So, well, that's all circumstantial. There's no proof of anything.
What?
Let me tell y'all real quick. I live in the Bible Belt. It took me all of 0.5 seconds to figure out what was going on here. This cop had listened to her pregnancy termination rant, just decided she was justified, and was taking her side. Just wait. Isn't that what a lawyer's for? We have a restraining order. You have a restraining order. Yes, she broke into our house and stole all of our food and then tried to run me over with a car while I was pregnant. I swear this cop laughed in my face. Okay, well, you're not pregnant now, right? Guys.
Whoa.
Again, this is right after her.
What is going
This
on?
is right after
This is
she
a
came
horror
back
movie.
from the doctor's appointment.
This is a horror, dude. For OP,
I think you need to move.
this is a horror
I know you have-
movie.
I know you said you have like some money issues, but like if you can, you need to leave this place.
OP's life is literally
Ugh.
spun upside down in 3 different directions.
Guys, if dear husband and the other cop hadn't come back outside right then, I would have been the one in jail. I had enough time to scream, and I had a effing miscarriage before dear husband was back next to me and moved me away. The other cop quickly shut the first one down and said they were taking Hamburglar immediately.
Thank God one person is not insane.
He said it was the worst break-in he had ever seen in terms of damage. He actually called the first cop an idiot because Hamburglar wasn't in cuffs when he came back out and shut down the it might be circumstantial crap he was trying to spew. I guess some cops take restraining orders seriously. I gave my statement and had my mom pick me up, and my dear husband dealt with the rest of the cop stuff. Yeah, what's up with this other cop? Can we get him fired too?
Fire
Does
him.
does this stepmom have her claws in another person?
Yeah.
What is
Fire
going
them.
on?
Fire them all.
CPS messing up, the cops messing up.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
My dad finally seemed to come to his senses and refused to bail Hamburglar out the next day when she had sobered up enough to call him. Him and several of his friends helped dear husband clean out all of our stuff, replace the broken windows with windows that were a bit more smash resilient than the ancient windows we had before, and toilet and financed new furniture to replace the stuff she'd ruined. He wasn't able to make us completely whole, but it was a start, and we're working on rebuilding. And of course, Hamburglar tried to plead not guilty and had to go to trial. We gave our lawyer, that my dad paid for, the records we had of her smashing our window, reaching through to unlock the door, and destroying our living room. It didn't get everything, but it was more than enough. So when she tried to say she showed up wasted because she was so distraught over what I'd done and found my house like that, she looked stupid AF. Yeah, so it didn't work going her way whatsoever.
God, this woman's crazy.
Now let's fast forward to this morning. I am praying for some sort of good news
I
here.
just want everyone to go to jail. Obviously not you and your family, but like I want the stepmom in jail.
Yep.
I want the CPS worker in jail.
Yep.
I want that police officer in jail.
Yep.
Jail, 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 jail.
3 people in jail right
Bye.
now. Hamburglar was released on parole. I think I'm not 100% the difference in parole and probation on Monday. So not exactly 24 hours, but close enough. I have the kids in daycare because I go back to work in a week. So I left my house at 8 this morning to drive them to daycare and then went back home. About 45 seconds after I locked the door behind me, Hamburglar pulls up in my driveway and gets out. So obviously she was watching for me to get home. She comes up to the door and starts knocking and calling through the door about how she wants to talk. There's obviously been a bunch of misunderstandings between us. She wants to fix things, yada, yada, yada. Dude, call the cops. Call the
How
cops.
is
Call
she
the
still
cops. Call the
here?
cops.
What is the point of a restraining order if she still comes around? These restraining orders are useless.
Well, conditions of her release included she was not allowed to contact me or my family in any way. So I called the cops again, who were very prompt in showing up this time.
Thank God.
I watched through my brand new windows as 3 cops surrounded my house within 4 minutes of me calling, and Hamburglar was cuffed and thrown into the back of a car. When I opened my door to give my statement, they were much nicer, and Hamburglar had switched back to screaming obscenities at me from the back of the cop car. I called my lawyer, who seemed thoroughly unsurprised, and he promised to call me as soon as he figures out what's going on, when she gets rebooked and everything. So that's all done. I'm sitting at a Starbucks down the street using the Wi-Fi because I suddenly feel unsafe in my home again, even though I'm pretty much sure she's back in jail. I'm sorry for the novel, but it's been a heck of a roller coaster and I needed to get it out. I haven't even called my dad yet. I'm waiting until I have something to say besides get your she-demon on a leash. Update 5. Update 5. Update 5!
Your dad freaking
There's another update.
This better be she's in jail.
I read
and
the
that's
first
it.
sentence.
If it's not she's in jail for life, I don't want it.
I don't know if I want to read it.
You have to.
You have to read it.
Let's dive in.
We got to know.
Let's dive in.
Update 5, Hamburglar isn't a joke.
Boo!
Basically what the title says. How do I know this? Just drove past my house in broad daylight. I called my lawyer and he said there's nothing they can do about her driving down the road. I do live in a pretty busy area. It's not like I'm out in the middle of nowhere. My street runs between 2 major roads in my city. We can't even prove that she did drive by. And of course, dear husband is out of town for work all weekend, so it's just me and the kids at home. He won't be home until Friday. My mom is out of town visiting her girlfriend, so we can't go over there. I have a friend coming over to sit with me until she gets off work, but seriously, you guys can listen to crazy, ridiculous, wild stories just like this on your favorite podcast app platform. Just go where, Sophia?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app.
And what are you going to search up?
Okay, story time.
And while you're searching OK Storytime, there will be a plethora of stories just like these there waiting for you.
Truthfully, I'm just angry. I hate these people.
Anyways, I'll update if anything happens. Edit reporting idiot cop on Monday. Has anyone had to do this before? Can you share your experience? Should I actually expect to hear if anything comes of it? Will it be more of a, okay, thanks for telling us, we'll handle it, bye? Yeah, it might be that. But it's still good.
Seems like it has been that.
I think it would still be good to get it in writing or go to the HR department in a police department and be like, hey, this person talked to me this way. Just to have it on record.
Yeah.
Because if he does it again, they can go back to that and be like,
like, he talked to you that way. Yeah, Dorette says, how does she keep getting out of jail?
I am going to need that.
That is the end of that story.
When was the last update?
6 years ago. She needs to be in jail.
Oh, wow.
How did, what?
What?
that's where I'm at. What?
My stepmother screamed at my biological mother during my engagement dinner, so I banned her from my wedding.
Yeah, get her out of here.
You banned.
You're banned. You can scream in a little straitjacket outside.
And not in here.
Not in here.
Well, I, 25 female, have a wonderful relationship with my stepmother and father, as well as with my mother. My mother had me with my father when she was 18 and my father was 19 years old. Soon after my mother brought me home, she ditched me in the middle of the night. Ouch. And nobody had seen her for years. My stepmother came into my life when I was 1 year old, and she has a daughter of her own a few years older than me. My father and stepmother married when I was 3, and when my stepsister was 8. By the way, this comes from deleted, but if you want to submit your stories and not delete them, go to Shoki Storytime, send them in, and we just might read it.
Yeah, dude, our subreddit's at like 11,000 people right now.
Yep.
Popping off, let's
It's
freaking go.
Pippity popping.
We're back.
r/Shoki Storytime.
Back,
That's right.
baby.
Back and better than ever. They can't shut us down. Anywho, so I saw my stepmother as a mom and called her mom. She did everything a mother is supposed to do for their daughter. She never treated me like I was an outsider. I'm very close with everyone in my family. Now, my mother did try to come back in my life, the bio mother, when I was 5 years old because she was pregnant at the time with my little sister. But my father didn't let her. He was very hesitant until I turned 7. He allowed my mother to slowly come back into my life. She was a stranger to me. She did have my little sister who I got to meet and she was 2 at the time. She told me the reason she ran away was that she has mental problems and wanted to get help. I was very cold towards her. I didn't call her mom and she didn't force me. She took her time and let me have my space until I finally started to get close to her and my little sister. My mother did have a great job and a big home.
Okay, so it seems like she kind of got her act together.
Seems like we're kind of on the come around
On
here.
the uppity up.
On the up and up.
We're upping.
Ooh. I became very close to my mother and my sister. My father and stepmother allowed me to bring my little sister to my house all the time, and everything was great.
Until. There's always an until. Everything was great until it all went downhill.
Until my girlfriend proposed to me.
Oh.
We are planning a small wedding at my mother's lake house with our close friends and family. The whole problem started when I wanted to have my mother sit in the front and my stepmother didn't like that. Remember the stepmother that was like originally amazing and then bio mom that was not amazing at first, right? So the roles are maybe switching.
Have now reversed.
Could be switching.
Wait. So the OP's girlfriend proposed and like there was like a proposal ceremony kind of thing?
They're now discussing who's going to sit where at the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Now we're talking seating arrangement at the wedding.
Big deal.
That's
big deal.
Big
a lot
stuff.
A lot can fall apart based on who you're sitting next to.
Oh yeah,
as we've seen.
My goodness, we
My
have
goodness.
10,000 hours to catalog.
Yeah, who would have known that seats would end relationships? But hey, they do.
Here we are.
They do. On one face, and then a relationship's done.
Samuel Donner, 2025. He's just handing them out now. He's just giving them out like free candy today.
Just one.
Just.
I thought that was a chair, not a jawline that could cut glass.
All over the place. Oh, so we're getting back to the story, ladies and gentlemen. She wanted her family and my father's family to sit in the front while my mother is in the back. My stepfather is fine with my little sister in the front, though. I did disagree and thought that was the end of it. When it came to dancing, I wanted to dance with my mother and father. My stepmother asked if she was getting a dance. I did say no, and she was quiet for a while. When I was going to get my wedding dress, I brought my 3 best friends, who were my maid of honor and my bridesmaids, little sister, stepsister, and my mom and my stepmom. My stepmother was upset, and I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that she is uncomfortable that my mother was here. I told her that she's my mother. My stepmother cut me off and said that she was my mother, not my bio mom. I told her not to say that and to not ruin my day. She stayed quiet the whole time. I guess she told my stepsister, and my stepsister said that my stepmother has been upset about the whole wedding planning.
Sounds like stepmama is gonna be some step drama ma.
She's not
drama mama.
She's not gonna be happy until bio mom is taken out by security. That's the only thing that will make her happy.
I wonder, this is not what you should do, and maybe you just uninvite her. But for peace of mind, potentially, maybe you just give her a dance, but 30 seconds, one song.
The problem is, I think this is a creep.
This is a creep.
It's creeping
this is a creepy crawly.
And if she gets her way in one area, who's to say she's not emboldened to go further?
And she left OP in the middle of the night.
Incorrect.
That was
the other one.
The biological mom. but But you know, again,
still love you, though.
Einstein was misunderstood.
Yeah,
this time.
hey, let's talk about that. Miss Einstein, and then he invented gravity, bro. He invented it, not discovered it. He invented it.
Gravity.
Okay, I said what I said.
Yeah.
So watch out for Riley's invention.
Coming
to
a theater. Yeah, show near you.
This show
right here. He is actually inventing a lot of stuff. Riley
That's
is
true.
the Einstein of this pod right now.
True words
Truly.
have literally never been spoken in the existence of human
Come to
history.
the live stream tomorrow. You'll definitely see.
There we go. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Oh,
Anyways.
baby.
So she feels that my bio mom is in the way. The stepmom does. When my bio mom hasn't done anything wrong and respected my stepmother's space as well. I told my stepsister that my stepmom is not liking my bio mom is not my problem, and that she needed to just put her big girl pants on and act her age. Act your age, stepmama. Put your pants on. Go to work.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, honestly, stepmom's throwing a fuss for no gosh
Stop
dang good reason.
Real quick.
My
theory is
give it to me.
Stepmom was great.
Stepmom was great
when she got
when she owned the place, when she owned the relationship,
the trophy,
the mom
of being
trophy.
Mom. And now there's nothing more in your face than you've been demoted. Bio mom gets a dance and you don't get a dance. That's like clear as day in her crazy brain.
Yeah. Although like if I here, all right,
John, cook.
Here, all right. I'm just gonna give you a little thing,
Yes.
All right, you're adopted.
Yep.
From birth.
Okay.
What? No. You just someone
Right.
cast you
You were
out,
wanted.
but you were wanted. You were
Yes.
wanted to the point of someone adopting you,
Yep.
right? And the stepmom just like loves you so much.
Mm-hmm.
For 130 years, she takes care of you. No, she takes care of you until you get married, right? Yep. And then all of a sudden, bam, biological mom comes in, and you're like, hey, I know you just took care of me for my whole life, but I'm gonna give this dance to my bio mama. I feel like adopted mama is gonna feel a little sad.
Well,
just like Rob.
This is call back to the Rob story.
Right.
This is the Rob story all again.
Here's the thing, though.
What?
She started going back in OP's life when she was 7 years old. Bio mom did. So from 7 to 25, bio mom has been a part of OP's life, and
stepmom,
and bio mom. They were like, hey, you need to take it slow. We're not going to give you. And she was like, she always respected the slowness and the space that everyone was requesting. She always did.
I think you give both a dance.
I like both a dance.
I think you give both a dance.
Both a dance is fun.
I mean, it's not like what it's like you can extend this thing by like 3 minutes to give another dance.
Your wedding, guys, we got to be fun with it. Can we have fun?
Dude.
That's what I would do.
Dance with them both at the same time. One gets the back, one gets the front.
Mama dance.
A little sandwich.
These are moms, bro.
So? One's not related to you.
Mom's going to be a sandwich. Oh, my God. There he is. He's back.
You guys missed him so much.
Samuel Donner 2025. Starting this new year off right. Let's go. My stepsister got mad and just walked away. She told my father and he called me. He said what I said was uncalled for and wanted me to include my stepmother in more and my mother less. Whoa. He said that she raised me like her own and that she feels like she's getting replaced. I told him I wasn't replacing her and she was included. She just having a recent problem with my mother when she didn't before. He just hung up and I ignored them both for a while. Then I hosted a late engagement dinner and invited all my friends and family.
Dude, I don't know. I think OP's being a little whack. I'm nearing on OP's the a-hole.
Uh-oh.
I'm nearing on it.
Yeah.
I'm cusping.
I think like I think that she should respect stepmom's hurt.
Yeah,
Because, I can see that.
It's the Rob situation.
Yeah.
It's the Rob like for all those that don't know, Rob was like the perfect stepdad, and then all of a sudden OP's real dad comes in, and then she kicks Rob out of the wedding, and doesn't allow Rob to walk her down the aisle.
We don't like that.
We don't like
We
that.
do not like that.
We don't like that one bit.
Now, everything was going great until my bio mom wanted to give a speech to me and my fiance. She gave a wonderful speech, and when she said I was a special daughter, she was lucky to raise. Uh-oh. Put
I see you in the chat.
Put them in there, guys. Put them.
Wait, where's my
smack them
thing?
down. Ooh, that's a big ICU.
Do you see what's coming?
You see the big one? It's a huge ICU. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying.
Oh.
My stepmother got up and told her to shut the F up. I'm her mother.
Well, she like Shrek objected.
Yup.
I object. That's lame.
I'm the mother.
That's lame too. I think the difference between this person and Rob is Rob just like silently suffered.
Just
honorably.
Just go to OP and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I do feel hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I raised you. And then you can have a good emotional conversation. Just
talk it out.
Just do it.
I think honestly both are a little bit in the wrong right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. She said that my mom abandoned me when I was just a newborn baby and missed a lot of my milestones, and she raised me when I was barely 1 year old and taught me to walk and talk, changed me, fed me, everything a mother was supposed to do, and walked out. Oof. Wow. Everyone was stunned, and my mother was crying and wanted to leave. I was comforting her. I went to go after my stepmom, and I screamed at her for ruining my engagement dinner and what she said to my mom. Stepmom tried to talk, but I screamed over her, and I told her that she is banned from my wedding, and I wanted to get her out of my life. Poll, ban or nah? I'm very curious.
This is so sad.
I'm very curious. My stepmother just left and hasn't messaged me or anything. My father doesn't want to talk to me or my stepsister. I feel like I did the wrong thing and should have just not said anything. Am I the a-hole? We have a quick edit, and we're getting that poll up.
Oh.
But first, I have to poll the one and only Samuel Donner. Do we
OP's
ban the stepmom?
OP is the a-hole, but so is the stepmom. OP is the a-hole because she kicked stepmom out of participating in the wedding. That's not cool. Stepmom did have a significant responsibility in raising you, and that should be respected. However, when the stepmom like objects at your engagement party, I think that's whack. What should have happened is you should have like just had a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
But like also the punishment for what OP's doing is going to be she's not going to have her stepmom in her life. That's what's going to happen. And maybe she doesn't care, but I think OP was the a-hole first. But but I think because understandable, like she's so hurt, but like that also is just not a good move. And if we're looking at like how you do it, we look back at Rob, and Rob had this happen to him and just kind of like suffered silently, and then after the wedding was like, hey, like this really, really hurt me. I want you to know.
There we go. Shockingly, 91% of chat is saying to not ban the stepmom from the wedding. Let me know if you guys are understanding that right.
Everyone's the a-hole here, though.
Yeah.
Everyone
agree.
is the a-hole.
Yeah.
Wait, can we go OP a-hole or everyone's a-hole?
Oh, let's see it.
I would love to know what you guys think on that one. OP is the a-hole. Stepmom's reaction was very emotional. OP is the a-hole due to 3 parents not having a conversation. Caitlin McCampus says, I feel like OP invited both stepmom and bio mom to the engagement party knowing shit would hit the fan. Lucy Ford says OP is huge a-hole. Stepmom is a tiny a-hole. Jellybus says, understand they need to have a conversation. OP needs to grow the F up. Yep.
People are passionate. Well, we got an edit, ladies and gentlemen. To anyone saying that I'm only after my mother's money, it's not true. My mother insisted she wanted me to have my wedding at her lake house. Oh, I forgot about that part. I wanted to do it somewhere else in the beginning, so I accepted it. I don't care for an expensive wedding. As I said, it's small weddings only with close family and friends. I'm not after anyone's money, even at 7. I wasn't. We weren't expecting you to, OP, to be honest. Another edit. I am not after my mother's money. Just doubling down. My fiance and I are paying for most of it, and we have got decent jobs to pay for a wedding. So again, not after my mom's money.
I don't know. It sounds like you're getting pretty defensive over here.
Yeah, dude. If you're explaining, you're losing, bruh. Edit. My stepmother is not sitting in the back. Please stop assuming she's sitting in the front with the rest of the family. Not sure where everyone read that she was sitting in the back. She wanted my mother to sit in the back, which got me upset. And I never told her she was going to be sitting at the back of the wedding. So please, again, my stepmom is not sitting in the back of the wedding. She's sitting in the front. Hey, is she sitting in the back or is she sitting in the front of the wedding?
Dude,
OP?
I feel like you're really trying to justify yourself
Dude.
here.
All right. And we've got the final update.
Final update.
We'll see. Every one of you guys has called me names and my mom names, which I didn't appreciate. Y'all started assuming I was only after my mom's money, assumed that my stepmother was going to sit in the back, as we've heard
Which
so many
is
times.
not true.
All I came here for was opinions of others, not to be degraded or be called names. But here is the update. I finally got a hold of my stepmother through my stepsister. My stepmother and I agreed to meet at my house. When she got there, she looked very sad, and I just gave her a big hug. I told her how much I love her, and she's the best mom anyone can ask for. We sat down together and had like a 3 to 4 hour conversation. We both apologized in the end, and my stepmom wanted to apologize to my mom for what she said. She also said she understands if she wasn't getting a dance. She is just grateful to be there and watch her daughter get married.
Aw.
Which made us both cry.
Aw.
I told her how sorry I was about shouting at her and banning her. I told her it was in the heat of the moment and I should have just comforted her. I didn't want her out of my life, and she told me that she will stay in my life forever and accept my decisions and support them. We both hugged it out, and she left home. We have been texting and calling each other every day. My dad and stepsister have been texting and calling me too. My mom has also gotten an apology from my stepmom. My mom apologized to my stepmother, and now we are all excited for the wedding. Can't wait to marry the girl I have loved forever.
Aw.
By the way, there's something that you've loved for forever,
Yeah, there is.
and it's us. And
This
if you
is a big wet kiss right now.
oh, Sam's giving that, not me. But what I will give you is 2,000 episodes of full episodes just like this. So I said it wrong, but you get the idea. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to your favorite podcast app, search OK Storytime, and play away. I promise it is something you won't regret.
Mm-hmm.
But as we are nearing the end of the story, dear Samuel, we have gotten a phenomenal update here.
It's great. I mean, it's great. I think this is what should have happened way earlier.
Yes. I will give him credit for ultimately having the conversation too, because to be honest, we don't always see it.
We don't always have that
see it.
resolution.
But it's better late than never.
Mhm.
And you know what? Maybe this had to happen for them to come
Yep.
to the table like this and be total. I love the vulnerability. And as Fenny says, yay, communication. All
Yay,
caps.
communication. We love communication on this show.
That is correct.
We're big communication guys.
Communicating
Huge.
to the max.
Communicate with me.
Now, I'm just grateful for my friends and family, especially my stepmother, who has given me everything I wanted in life. My stepsister and my father are still a bit upset with me, but are still nice to me. All my friends were on my side, and my mom did feel awful about the whole situation. She didn't intend to put my stepmother and stepfather and my father down. Even my little sister was really upset with my mother and I. She's not talking to my mother, as she really cares for my stepmother and has been spending time with her a lot. She has told me that she sees stepmom as her true and only mother. I hope in the future that she will talk to our bio mom and we can all go back to our lives normally and no more hostility towards one another. Hey,
Bada bing, bada boom.
that's a
I learned a secret about my stepsister's cruelty, and now I can't remove it from my mind.
What's this dark secret you have, OP?
I lost my mother when I was very young, and my father remarried to the woman I grew up calling Mom. Mom has an older son and a daughter who's about 12 years older than me. By the way, this comes from Consistent Dirt 788 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, it was never a secret that Mom wasn't my biological mother. I see my stepbrother on the holidays, but I have had zero contact with my stepsister. I learned why that was. My mom and stepsister moved in after she and my dad got married. I don't remember her being very nice, and then she was just gone. I was told she had to go away for a while, and my mom brought me everywhere with her. The store, to her friends' places, to the zoo, etc. She helped me get ready for school and helped me with schoolwork. She watched a handful of kids' movies in the theater that, looking back, were likely indecipherable nonsense to her. All 3 of those Pokemon movies, for example. She cried at my high school graduation even when she promised me she wasn't going to cry. She was my mom, and she loved me to bits. All the while, she never erased my mother. Her and my dad would look at photos of my mother, and my dad would tell stories, and my mom always said she wished she could have met her. My father and maternal grandfather had it for me after she passed away, so I had something to remember her by. I have that photo album in my apartment. Been looking at it a lot lately. Here's the kicker. It's not the original photo album. I never saw the original photo album. What made my mom disown my stepsister is that she burned the original after my mom scolded her for being rude to my father and I.
Oh my gosh.
My not biological mom discovered what had happened because her and her friends had done it together. And one of her friends felt so guilty, she confessed to her own mom, who called my mom. My mom kicked out my stepsister out of the house and had movers take her things to her dad's house. So I'm assuming there was a divorce somewhere along those lines.
The mom was remarried.
The mom, yeah.
The stepmom remarried.
Yes. Dad came home to my mom, who explained in tears what was up. She and my dad then went around to the family, friends, close and distant, and even my mother's alma mater to look for photos of my mom to try and make a new album. Dad told me everyone in their lives had risen to the occasion and they were able to build a new album even if some of the original photos and Polaroids were gone forever. They had new photos from mom's college friends. I asked Dad if my stepsister even apologized or tried to reach out, and he confirmed she tried, but mom fundamentally wants nothing to do with her. I thought a lot about forgiveness and family these last few months. I never knew about the original album, so I didn't have much of a reason to hate her. I do think the album was likely a last straw for my mom and wasn't the primary problem, even though destroying the album was cruel and kind of evil. I don't plan on talking to my mom about it. I think it would be better to respect her desire to continue not having a relationship of any kind with my stepsister. My only plan is to make sure to give both of my folks big hugs. We have some relevant comments here. How old was stepsis when this occurred? Stepsis was 18, maybe 19. Like, what do you do?
This probably was the final straw. There's maybe some jealousy. This seems like it's between the mom and her daughter.
The OP's stepsister.
OP can be nice and like be like, okay, cool. Like,
well, OP didn't even know about this photo album until further down. I guess she just left. I think this was not a great way to handle a child.
Yeah, but she was 18. She knew a little better.
I mean, we've all been 18. We've all done and made stupid mistakes, and you learn, you live and learn, but we don't know what got to this point.
We don't know the other context.
But I feel like maybe she was upset about a new family moving in,
probably
new sister, new dad that she doesn't care for or knows.
I don't know.
We just don't. We can't assume.
Yeah,
we cannot assume. But we have an update. I made a post a few days ago about learning about how the photo album made of photos of my deceased mother was actually a replacement album after my stepsister, her bio daughter. So we have an update. I texted my mom that I knew about what happened, and I asked if I could call her to talk about it. We talked and clarified some things my dad likely forgot. Even before she had started seeing my dad, my mom and stepsister were having problems.
All right, some context.
Okay, we kind of assumed here. Her ex-husband was a fair weather parent and wasn't very supportive. My stepsister, during her last 2 years of high school, became part of a clique of girls who were always in trouble. Mom had to field several accusations of bullying and otherwise poor behavior. She tried to get her into counseling or therapy, but she refused point blank. And at a certain point, you can't force someone if they don't want to go into therapy. She tried grounding her and taking away privileges. She had also been lying about applying to colleges. So the final few months before graduation were a mad dash to apply for schools before throwing the towel and having her apply to community college. When she married my dad and moved the both of them into my dad's house, the only expectations my mother gave her were be nice and be tidy. She was never expected to babysit me. Well, she couldn't follow those guidelines and clashed almost every day with my mom and my dad and would raise her voice at me. I was 6 years old at the time for watching TV or playing in the backyard. My stepsister only lived in that house for over a month before my mom sent her away. The breaking point was reached even before the photo album. My mom told her ex-husband he had to take her for a while. Stepsis was pissed because her father lived an hour away and she wouldn't be able to see her cliquey friends anymore. But mom put her foot down that she couldn't stay there with the way she had been treating everyone else. My stepsister must have found the album and called her friends to meet up with her, where they burned it in a bonfire.
Oh my gosh.
It was a legit burn book.
What? Why that? Why not something else?
I guarantee you, it was to get at her mom and to
Yeah.
get at this new family that might, like, you moved out and I have to go away to dad and you're being controlling parent, yada, yada, yada. You suck, mom. This is like a middle finger to them, to you.
Like, why didn't you egg their house? Why didn't you slash their tires? Why'd you have to do that?
Don't do any of that, actually. I would
have been way cooler if she would have done
The
that.
fact that she's
than
an
burn that book.
The fact that you're an 18-year-old and you're burning legit photo album of someone's deceased parent, what's wrong with you? When mom asked why on earth she did it, my stepsis thought it would be a funny prank to take something from my father and I that we would miss. Mom ended up kicking her out right there and calling movers that day. She was furious and upset and felt the two of them having some distance apart would be for the best. Mom was also panicking because she thought her marriage had just gone up in flames, literally. However, my father never blamed my mom for what had happened. Mom told me she just didn't have the desire to reconnect with my stepsister when she reached out a few years ago. She can't let go of my stepsister's deliberate cruelty to not justify her and my father, but to me. My stepsister was an adult when she did what she did. In her absence, she had a wonderful husband and 2 sons, my oldest stepbrother and I, who were kind to her. My relatives all loved her. And we would love you wherever you tune in to podcast. Just search up OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, we're there. And we got more stories just like this, and we'll see you there. But we have a little bit more left, so don't go just yet.
I just want to know what happened to the sister now.
But the fact that the mom, like, this is your kid, and
Yeah.
do we get updates from, like, the ex-husband?
We're about to find out. We got to see.
Let's just go straight into it. She admitted that her mental health had improved considerably without my stepsister around. She had wanted to prioritize the people in her life who weren't toxic. She assured me she hadn't left her with nothing. She had full access to a college fund that my mother set up for her when she was born, and she will still get an inheritance. Mom finished the call by telling me she still felt horrible about what happened to the photo album and wished those memories of my mother weren't gone forever. I told her it was okay, and I appreciated the lengths she and my dad went to replace it before telling her I loved her. To address a few commenters, I did not and still do not have any desire to talk to my stepsister. I just wanted the whole story, and that is the whole story.
That's it, everybody. Wow.
Wow. I hope the stepsister learned from her mistakes.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but yeah, you did a really effed up thing.
Yeah, facts. That
And
was
for
weird.
OP has a good family,
Yeah.
a great mom.
Oh, yeah. That's the end of the story.
I adored my stepfather until his passing revealed a betrayal.
Did he come back as a ghost and confess his sins?
Growing up, I, female 28, had a great relationship with my dad. He was my stepfather, but our family was blended well in that aspect, where we did not use the term step, and there was no contention over that. By the way, this comes from user Polite Pumpkin on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, there were other issues that nobody knew about at the time, though. That's not really relevant to this story. My second earliest memory is my parents sitting me down and telling me that I could call my father dad if I wanted to. From that day on, he was my dad. We did everything together. There was a 5-year age gap between my brother and I, so while he was going through his teen years, I was still young enough to want to do everything with my parents. My mom, while not a bad parent, was kind of an absentee. It wasn't that she wasn't around, but she always had to be doing something. She never wanted to sit at home, but my dad was more than content to let me tag along wherever he was going.
Kind of like Elon Musk and his little kid X. Just like brings him to everywhere.
We went everywhere together for the most part. His friends all knew me, and I'd regularly attend dinner parties and the like with them, as I wasn't old enough to be home alone. And even if I was, I wouldn't want to stay home with my brother for good reason. All this to say that growing up, I was closer to my dad than my mom. He was my hero. I looked up to him, and I wanted to be just like him when I grew up. I thought that man walked on water. He and my mom had what I thought was a fairy tale relationship. They were what I wanted in the future with my partner. They never argued. The one time that they did argue was such a surprise that we were worried our parents would get divorced because it never happened. I guess that was the first time he showed that he could be sneaky and lie so easily. Does it count as lying if you just don't argue in front of the children? I don't know. That sounds like what OP is implying. Though chronologically, the reason I can't forgive my stepfather actually happened before this. This is just how things played out from my perspective. Anyway, he sent us to visit my grandparents across the country for the entire summer. He'd originally planned to come with us, but then couldn't get off work. At least that's what he claimed. When we got back, things seemed fine until we went to a family gathering and someone made a comment about my dad's cancer treatment. Cancer we had no idea about. He sent us away without telling us his diagnosis while he got treatment and suffered alone. My mom was pissed, and now, as a married woman, I would be shattered if my husband didn't feel like he could turn to me for support in a situation like that. Things continued on from that after the anger cooled down, and we continued life as normal. I wasn't a perfect child, and my dad and I fought. I'm not saying that there were never any situations where we were angry at each other, but he was always there when I needed him. When I got pregnant as a teenager, he was so angry at me, but he was there to hold my hand in the delivery room. He hated that I got married right out of high school, but he was there to walk me down the aisle.
Sounds like he's like a pretty good guy. Like, yes, I understand not sharing a cancer prognosis, especially to your wife, is not like a good thing to do. It's not good for like your communication, your relationship, but I feel like it's born out of a desire to like not infect the family and his partner with the heaviness of that diagnosis.
It's not like I'm going to get him. I'm going to pull the coolest prank ever on these guys. It's like, nah, it's real complicated when you get a diagnosis that serious. He hated that I moved 8 hours away by car, but he was there for my daughter's second birthday. That was when he confided to my mom that he was wrong because he realized when he visited how happy my little family was. He hated that I ended up moving overseas, but he was there to FaceTime me almost every night. He got sick not long before my daughter was born. We all knew about it from the beginning this time, though there was no way for him to hide it this time, even if he wanted to. I was there in the car with him when he suddenly started getting horrible back pain that wouldn't go away. He ended up having my mom take him to the hospital after she got off work, and he was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that was attacking his kidneys. I can't remember the exact name right now, but he was on chemo for the last few years of his life. He never showed how bad it was and always took longer to accept doctor's orders when it came to mobility aids. In the end, he was using a cane, even though the doctor told him he really needed a walker. He was a stubborn man like that. I was the last person to talk to him before he passed. I regret how that conversation went so much now, not because we argued or ended the call on bad terms, but because it was mostly like every call we ever had. He was so tired, he was falling asleep on the phone. Even now, when my view of him has changed, I still wish I had stayed on the phone longer with him. Instead, I told him it was okay if he wanted to go to bed. I told him he could just call us later. The next morning, I got a call from his phone, and it was really early in the morning back home at 3 or 4 in the morning. I just assumed he woke up early since he went to bed early, but instead it was my mother calling to give me the news that he had passed in his sleep. That to have to reckon with.
I'm so confused why she's so mad at him. So far, I don't see it. I'm like still a little confused.
Something happens, something comes to light that she realizes that all of his past actions were some kind of lie. That's my bet.
Because so far right now, without the context of whatever she's about to bring up, like I'm like, oh, like this is like guy that's trying his best, not someone who's trying to screw people over.
My husband and I made arrangements to travel back home for the funeral and to be there with my mom. It was after the funeral that she told me something that changed my view of my dad. She went to get things figured out with the mortgage company. It's important to note that while the home had been in my dad's family for generations, he and my mom bought it when they were already married. So the mortgage was taken out after they were married. When she went to get the paperwork, she figured out that they told her that she wasn't on the mortgage. She didn't think that could be right because while she didn't actually go to the meetings to purchase the house, she signed all the paperwork my dad brought home to put her name on the mortgage deed.
Secret family. Secret family.
What he really had her sign was forms forfeiting her rights to any claims on the house.
Always read the contract, or at the very least, put it into ChatGPT and say, you're a lawyer, chat. What should I be aware of?
So she had no legal right to the home at all. My brother refused to do anything to help with the situation. He couldn't accept the house as legal next of kin because he would lose his benefits, so instead he refused to help or sign anything at all. Since my mom signed that paper, she wasn't even entitled to half the house like she would have been under the state inheritance laws. I can understand why he did it at the time, but he was so sneaky about it, and I think that was so wrong. At the time, he was the only one working. He'd lost a lot in the divorce he had with my brother's biological mom, and he was afraid of losing the house if anything happened between him and my mom. What I cannot forgive is that he knew he was passing. He knew for years that he wouldn't get better, but didn't try to fix what he had done. He could have come clean and admitted to what he'd done, but instead he just did nothing. My childhood home was foreclosed on because my brother refused to do anything about it, and my mom had no access to any of the information, and she didn't have the money to buy it outright. Wow. I can definitely understand this completely changing your opinion of somebody.
So really quick, OP's stepdad took out OP's mom sneakily because
he was paranoid that it was like they would get divorced and then she'd like, it would be a bad one and she'd take the house.
he was preempting.
Or they were having like a fight or something. Like, I don't know.
Surprising that after that blew over, that he didn't go and change that. Maybe he was worried that she would catch it, you know?
I don't know. Maybe he thought the brother would take care of it or his son, but the son did absolutely nothing. I mean, I guess once you do that, now you're living the lie. And now you can't just be like, hey, I'm just going to undo this. Hey, can you sign this document again?
It's not the worst thing that we've ever seen happen, but it's also not great. And I can see how seeing this action would color every other small slight, being like, what else is he hiding? You know, because this almost seems out of character based on everything that we've heard about this guy.
I feel like the way I saw my dad has changed now. While I still love him, my view of him has been tarnished a bit. The more I look at the past, the more moments I realize that he wasn't really the man I thought he was. I'll never get that back, and it devastates me. And there's an edit. I fixed a couple errors in the post, and I want to clarify a few things. My dad was not in hospice, and he was not in the hospital when he passed. He had an autoimmune disease that was being treated with chemo, but he did not have cancer. While my mom was absent a lot of my childhood, that was not really anything against her. I had the option of going with her to her friend's house or to visit my aunt or wherever she was going, but I didn't want to. It was boring, and I would have rather eaten fancy cheeses at my dad's friends' houses than watching my mom play cards. It helped that there were usually other kids at the places my dad was going, and if not, I liked his friends, and if I'm 100% honest, he was just my favorite parent. My mom was there for my dad while he was sick, though he did not need her to be his caretaker. He actually told me she wouldn't stop hovering. He liked his independence, and he never actually lost that, though my mom was a bit more of a mother hen. He could drive and walk with the assistance of a cane until the end of his life. I really don't like the comments bashing my mom. I agree she was stupid for signing those things without reading them, and there was more she could have done, but she was a good mom, and she was probably just trusting her husband, which, by the way, I trust that all of you will tune in every weekday at 3 p.m. PST to catch our live stream on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap on our profile and you're in. We might even be live right now. So before we finish this story, because there's a little bit story left, I think we collect our thoughts a little bit on this mysterious situation. Why did he not put the house back in his wife's name?
I think like what you said earlier about the brother maybe taking care of it. Maybe he thought it would be fine. Maybe it was like he did it once out of fear and didn't want to get caught in the lie. Though, like the examples OP brought up don't feel the same as what he did here. My read on this is like, if there's not other examples, this feels like one bad, scared decision rather than a fully emblematic action that shows his character. But I would love to hear what the end of this story.
Let's get into this. I didn't mean to imply that my mom was never there to parent me or involved in my life. I just meant that if we had nothing going on, she was not going to be sitting in the house watching TV. She did take us to do plenty. There were things she did with us that my dad didn't, like taking us swimming every summer. Dad couldn't swim and rarely ever got into the water. And riding all the roller coasters with us at the amusement park. She would take us to visit cousins and aunts and uncles on her side. She just never liked being stuck in the house without any interaction with other adults. And that is the end. Just a little add-on there about mom's tendencies.
Opie's stepdad brought papers to Opie's mom with mom thinking they were mortgage papers, but they were papers to forfeit any right to the house. Is that not illegal?
Probably, yeah. It probably is illegal. But at the same time, if you sign a document that you had the ability to read and it just didn't read it, I don't know if that's like a loophole or what, but it is crazy. This is just one of those things. I mean, sometimes one action can undo like a lifetime of good actions because now this one thing is going to be at the forefront of OP's mind.
And especially, you know, it's like, I think diving into that, one action won't define you if you try to make that right.
But again, it's at that point, you know, maybe his head's not clear enough to remember. Chemo's a nasty cocktail of stuff, man. Chemo really messes you up.
My dad took my half siblings to a restaurant that I have been asking to go to for years.
Only give them half the food. Ha!
I, 19 female, have 2 half siblings from my dad and stepmother. My half siblings, 7 female and 4 male, both have birthdays close to one another. By the way, this comes from Different Intention 12 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my brother's birthday is early August and my sister's birthday is late September. This year, instead of having a birthday party for both of them, they both were allowed to pick a trip for their special days. My brother chose to go to Sesame Place, which isn't far from where they live, and my sister chose to go to Great Wolf Lodge for an overnight. I went to both events, making sure to be there for both of them since I don't see them often anymore. I told my dad I didn't expect the same treatment as them since I was an adult, only asking that he take me to Red Robin. Wow, just Red Robin?
Dude, that's like, we need to up the ante over here.
Right, it's not even like a expensive fancy restaurant.
Yeah,
it's like
at least
Red
give
Robin.
me like a Ruth's Chris or like some sort of something nice, dude.
Right.
It's like, oh, just take me to McDonald's. Just give me some hash browns.
That's all Opie is asking.
Right.
Red Robin was my favorite restaurant growing up, but I haven't been able to go since I was 13. My mom is allergic to onions, and all food at Red Robin is cooked with onion powder,
that's
so
tough.
she can't take me. I'm not over at my dad's enough for him to take me, but I was hoping maybe if I specifically asked, he would agree. But I was disappointed. My dad kept blowing me off every time I asked, telling me that they don't eat out and that they would make sure it was special regardless.
Dude, it's like cheap as heck.
Yeah.
All you need to do, there's no wait, there's nothing. Just
Right.
walk in and sit down and pay $20.
Fast forward to a few weeks ago, and I got a FaceTime from my stepmom. My stepmom and I both have iPhones, so she was how I spoke to my siblings when I wasn't there. As soon as I answered, I noticed that they were out somewhere. Oh?
Oh no.
I asked my sister where they were, and her answer broke me. They had gone to Red Robin.
No.
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 Oh my gosh.
Why? What are you doing?
She's asking for so little.
Dude, absolute peanuts. And then you take the peanuts and give them to someone else.
Yes.
And don't even offer any.
Yes.
Like,
oh my goodness.
like it's so easy.
I tried to ignore it and just talk to my siblings, but they weren't even talking to me. It was basically 20 minutes of me just watching them eat the food that I had been begging my dad to take me to.
No,
That
that's
is
so sad.
so painful.
That's so sad.
Eventually, I made an excuse that I had homework and ended the call. I'm not proud of it, but I broke down. I know it's stupid crying over food, but it wasn't just that. They deliberately called me while out at a restaurant I had actively told my dad I wanted to go to. I have a feeling that it's not on purpose, but at the same time, it's like, how can you ignore that?
Could be, yeah. There's definitely a possibility for sure.
Yeah. They could have called me after or even before. Anything would have been better than forcing me to watch my siblings eat the food that I have been craving for months. My siblings didn't even want to talk to me. I had to watch them eat and talk amongst themselves as if I wasn't even there. This is just so awful.
So bad.
All the way around.
So bad.
I know it's really childish of me, but I broke down to my mom and best friend. My mother hates my dad. Oh, I guess they're divorced.
There we go.
Mostly because he pulls shady stuff like this to me on a regular basis. It has really messed up my mental health and I have really been struggling. My mother was furious to say the least and decided to take me to Red Robin despite her allergy to make me happy. There you go.
W Mom.
That's awesome.
Go.
My best friend was also angry at my father. A part of me just wants an outsider opinion opinion, since the two people I talked to are both a little biased. So, Reddit, am I the bad apple for being mad at my dad for taking my siblings to Red Robin? There is an edit, but what do we think, John?
No.
Is she the bad apple?
Not at all. Like, dude, I don't know. I want to do something to the dad. I want him to suffer. I want him to have pain.
That is just so, because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know them, but I want to believe that there was no like malicious intent behind it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely like some sort of neglect to what OP has been asking for.
I think because it was, I believe, the stepmom that called, right?
Right.
She was like, oh, the stepmom has an iPhone, so I can FaceTime. That's how I talk to the kids.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the stepmom was like, oh, like I could see her like, hey, let's go to Red Robin's. I'm going to call her. And then I'm just going to like, I don't know, did she just put the phone on a ketchup bottle and then they were just like watching a meet? Because it's like,
right.
She's like, oh yeah, they're just like eating and not talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
But then like, I feel like the mom should have noticed that the kids aren't talking to her and then like either like urge them to talk.
She wanted.
And that would be crazy.
That's what I'm kind of thinking is happening here.
Oh my gosh. Like I so want to believe that it's just a stupid mistake, but you might be right. You might be right.
Could be.
But
Let's
there
see.
is more to the story. So we have an edit, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go.
I have seen a lot of comments regarding this. So here, I cannot drive. I don't have my license due to my ADHD being really severe. I am paranoid that I'll end up getting distracted by something and get into an accident, so I'm not learning quite yet. Another thing, all of my friends are away for college. I do college from home because I cannot drive. I often need people to take me places or I just walk if it isn't far. Finally, I cannot just cut contact with my father. From growing up in a broken home and living with mental abuse from my father and stepmom, I promised myself that I would be a comfort person to my siblings. Oh, that's so tough.
Wow. Wait, and so he's saying like that her dad and stepmom emotionally or in other
mentally
ways abusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's literally just staying and like dealing with that herself so that she can be there for the other kids. That is so much pressure. And she's only like 19.
Yeah. I mean,
so much responsibility.
Yeah. I totally understand it. And it's very noble of her. But yeah, I'm like, that's tough. That's super tough.
Yeah. Because sometimes you have to like have certain boundaries for yourself. But I understand that like you can't go no contact.
It's a tough position.
Yeah. They are innocent in all of this, and it's not fair for them to deal with my dad and stepmom's problems. I cannot just abandon them, and since I can't drive, my only option is to go see them rather than taking them out. I think that's everything. Thank you for so many comments in under an hour. Oh my goodness. But edit number 2.
Ooh.
I got a comment that was a little rude and decided to clear this up. My full ADHD diagnosis is ADHD with severe autistic tendencies, along with 2 side diagnoses of anxiety and sensory processing disorder, or SPD. So on top of my fear of car accidents, I'm borderline spectrum. My diagnosis only missed 1 point on the autism diagnosis test. I have SPD, which makes my eyes and ears severely sensitive. Even being in a car at night gives me migraines. And I have severe anxiety, which makes even trying to learn how to drive 100 times harder. But you know, something that's super easy?
What is that, Angie?
Is joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok every single day at 3 p.m. BST.
Don't you know it?
It's all you gotta do is tap our profile.
Tap it.
OP says, also, I am on the highest dose of ADHD medication legally allowed.
Ooh.
Wow.
Let's break the law.
I don't even know what that is. I have been on this medication since 3rd grade, and it really only helps me focus enough to pass school. I still get easily distracted, still cannot sit still, another problem with learning how to drive, and cannot speak clearly without stuttering or getting sidetracked. I also daydream too much for comfort, and often don't even realize until someone snaps me back into reality. So no, I cannot just medicate my ADHD and learn to drive. It's not as simple as that. Thanks for all the supportive comments, you guys. This literally went viral in only 2 hours. Y'all are amazing.
We going viral, baby. Woo! Viral movie.
But dang, that's a lot. I really wonder if it's one of those cases where like the dad and stepmom don't know how to handle all of those mental health issues and are like just not treating her well because of that. And you know what I mean? Like there's so many stories like that.
They like doubly suck if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think leaning on the mom, she probably already does this, but like leaning on the mom because like, again, it's tough. I totally, it's very noble of OP to want to look out for the step siblings.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like also having boundaries
Right.
in place and like just setting yourself up for success, especially with everything that OP mentioned that she has to, deal with and work with. So like,
Right.
I think I would go to the mom and try and lean on her as much as possible. And like,
Yeah.
maybe even just like, I wonder if she's like talked to her and been like, hey, like I want to be there for the step siblings, but I like also want to protect my own sanity from dealing
Right.
with these freaking whack ass people. So
Right.
what do I do?
Yeah, because I wonder if like any of these small moments. I mean, I'm sure that in the divorce, the mom has definitely confronted the dad about this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But like, I wonder just since then, because that was like a long, long time ago. I
Yeah.
think I feel like, or I wonder how much the mom has said or like stood up for OP, or if OP's like stood up for herself in this time. You know what I mean? Just about these small things. Like, I'm sure
Yes.
stuff happened with like all the mental abuse as a kid.
Yep.
I'm sure. But I really wonder if even these small things have been talked about.
It's a great point. Have the mom basically tell the mom and be like, hey, like I want to make sure that they both know that this is not right.
That's so tough though, OP. My stepsister planned my 18th birthday party and I laughed in her face. Just like that. A little background. My mom and dad separated when I was 6 and each went their separate ways. Of course, they had joint custody of me, but they both started new families. When I was 9, my mom married a man. Let's call him Robert,
Okay.
who already had a daughter. Let's call her Kira, who was 2 years older than me. My dad got engaged when I was 8 to a wonderful woman. Let's call her Layla, who he married when I was 12. By the way, this comes from Tasty Word 2747 on the OK Storytime subreddit. My relationship with Layla is beautiful. She has truly been a mother to me. She basically helped my dad raise me. She takes an interest in my life. She comforts me. She advises me. We have common interests and we do many activities together. She and I recently talked about the possibility of having her legally adopt me as soon as I come of age. Doing so now would be a bit messy legally because of my parents' joint custody. Because for me, she is my real mother and I want it to be official. That's lovely. My relationship with my bio mother, on the other hand, is almost non-existent. Even though I was forced to spend specific days with her, we never managed to bond because she spent all of her time giving attention and affection to Kira, who already has her own mother. Even when she tried to involve me in some activity, she always included Kira, and we had to do only what Kira liked. At a certain point, I started to decline her invitations and often asked if I could avoid going to her on the set days because I was almost always ignored or left aside, and I preferred to stay at home with my father and Layla. My father always tried to understand me, but he also had to honor the rules set by the judge, which is, yeah, that's really hard.
By the judge.
When I got more mature, he admitted that he was afraid that my mother might make some mean move in court if he agreed to not let me go to her on the appointed days. Yeah, this is something my mother would do. After knowing this, I understood my father's reasons, and I absolutely don't want to put him in trouble. So I didn't make such requests anymore, and I respected my schedule. Now, let's get to the point. In 2 weeks, I will finally turn 18. I was lucky because my birthday falls on the days I have to stay with my dad, so he, Layla, and I started planning my birthday a month ago. It will be nothing too crazy, just a party with family and friends at my favorite pizza place. A casual night where I just want to have fun with the people I care about and do what I like. The place also has karaoke, and I love singing. That sounds great. I really want to do a pizza night. We should go.
Pizza karaoke?
Well, I don't know where a pizza karaoke place is, but I do know a great pizza place in the valley.
I can make any karaoke place a pizza place by ordering pizza to the karaoke place.
Genius.
Boom.
Of course, after booking and setting everything up, we sent out the invitations, and this extended to my mother as well. Honestly, I didn't really want her there, but then I thought that this would actually be the last time I was forced to be involved with her, because once I turn 18, I won't be forced to follow the judge's rules anymore. So we sent out the invitations 2 days ago, and we already had most of the answers, so we could organize the precise number to send to the pizza place. The only thing missing was my mother, who saw the text and didn't respond. That's ridiculous. I told my father that I would not insist, and if she didn't respond, then it meant that she didn't want to come, and I was fine with that. I think my father was also a little relieved by the idea, even if he didn't say it openly, but I could see it on his face. Anyway, the drama started this afternoon. It's always gotta be drama.
No, not the drama. No.
My mother called me very angry, accusing me of being childish and that I shouldn't have planned anything without telling her first. Girl, she did. She did.
Are we ignoring reality again?
Did we look at her phone? This left me a little confused, and I reminded her that I always planned all my birthdays with Dad and Layla. Most of the time, she didn't even remember. So complaining now was quite hypocritical. This makes her even angrier and started attacking me because Kira has been crying ever since I sent the invitation to my mother because she had already planned a whole birthday party for me. What? You could... Okay, one... Why is she so upset? And two, you can still plan that birthday party just on a different day.
This is just feeling like somebody who enjoys the process of being upset.
Yes.
And
like makes
enjoys
everything about her.
Yes.
Always the victim.
The feeling of being upset and spreading it to others.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who just can't get enough of that. And I certainly wish they would. And just stop it.
Just freaking stop it. It's really embarrassing for you.
It's cringe.
And I was really speechless because the relationship between me and Kira is 0. She is the classic spoiled brat who always wants to be the center of attention, and my mother has always supported this behavior of hers, making it worse, and clearly she and I have never got along. I just didn't understand why the heck Kira wanted to organize a birthday party for me. It didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I asked her why she did it, and especially why she did it without telling me. I mean, she didn't really think I wouldn't make any plans for my 18th birthday, right? It was ridiculous. My mother said it was supposed to be a surprise, and since I didn't tell her about my plans, she thought I didn't want to do anything for my birthday. And I mean, she could have asked. No.
Yeah, no, I don't. She doesn't give
because it's
vibes
not
like
about
she would
you.
ask.
The thing is, like, for your mom, your birthday isn't about you. It is about her showing that she's this amazing mother.
Well, it's actually your mom's birthing day.
Yes.
You selfish wench.
She's like, it's when I had to push you out.
Don't you realize this was the day I gave birth to you?
Mm-hmm. But here comes the worst part, and I admit the one that made me lose my cool. My mother started listing all the things Kira had prepared for my party, maybe to rub in my face what I would have missed, and they were all Kira's favorite activities, things that I didn't like. She had booked a fish restaurant for lunch. I don't even eat fish. Not because of some whim, but because it makes me feel sick. Just smelling fish makes me feel nauseous. I'm not allergic. I had it checked. My body simply rejects it. She also booked an afternoon activity at a ranch near the city where my mother now lives, where you can ride horses, and well, I don't like it. I have nothing against horses in particular, but the idea of riding one or getting really close to an animal that big scares me. Then she thought about going back to my mom's house for a backyard barbecue for dinner, and I just don't want to do that because I don't want to spend more time with my mom than I have to. If this wasn't, a really awful idea for OP's birthday, and I wouldn't have to be with the mom or Kira, this would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if
but the thing is that it's
so
not,
you're like, if this entire thing was not at all how it was,
well, no,
this would be a great
the
time.
fish and the horse and the barbecue, that sounds like a great time for me.
I mean,
but not
like,
for OP,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's who really matters.
Right, exactly.
My mother also said they already sent out invitations to everyone. To who? And at that point, I was really speechless, but I asked her who she had sent them to because my friends, my dad, and his family hadn't received anything. It turns out the invites were mostly sent out to Robert's family, my mom's family, and Kira's friends. Honestly, it just sounds like Kira's birthday.
Kira's just throwing a party for herself, and is like, oh, that's on her birthday. Okay.
Let's call it.
This is your birthday party now.
It's your birthday party. It's Opie's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was basically a party organized by Kira for herself, but under the pretext that it was for my birthday. So I didn't hold back anymore. I laughed in my mother's face and hung up the phone.
There it is.
It was all too ridiculous to be true. Come on. My dad came to me a little while ago saying that my mom called him mad because I laughed in her face when she told me about the party they had organized for me, and he was very upset about it. He was starting to say that despite all the feelings I had for my mom, they were just trying to do a nice thing for once. But I stopped him right away and explained in detail how the party had been organized, a detail that my mom apparently left out with him. His expression changed quickly. He just said, "I've got to make a phone call." And I've been hearing him yelling at my mom for at least 20 minutes by now. Wow. Layla came to me after learning about the situation and said that as much as she could relate to me, I was a little rude to laugh in my mother's face and hang up without explaining. Okay, why are we defending mom here? She sucks. For her, I should have spoken out like an adult despite my feelings and sort things out in in a civil and mature way. Oh, okay. So Layla is saying you could have tried to do it a little bit more maturely. She wasn't angry, just a bit disappointed about how I acted. As soon as she left, I thought about my actions and maybe I was a little hasty, but I don't think talking to my mom about it would have helped, honestly. But maybe I could have handled it better. I'm starting to think I was a bit of an a-hole in that moment, and there is an update now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your parents, I get like, okay, your dad and Layla are being your parents, and they're like, you have to be nice to people regardless. But I'm not your parent, and I think your mom's a bit of an a-hole, and I don't care if her feelings were hurt because she's not thinking about your birthday at all.
Exactly. Go off, queen.
Yeah.
Go off, queen.
Yeah.
You've had your dirt today. I can tell.
I've had my dirt.
You've had plenty of like 5 heap it. Wait, how many spoonfuls of dirt have you had?
There's a lot of dirt in here. I gotta be honest. You can see it's like when I was choking earlier, I just got a huge clump of matcha.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how much
There-
matcha's in here.
There is,
but it's I'm wired.
there's literally dirt in that cup. It's just green flavored and full of caffeine. Shoot.
Do you got any thoughts?
I mean, literally, no. You hit the ball.
Literally no.
I was just letting you take. I was letting you take that one away
I appreciate
because
that.
you were like, you know what? I'm not your mama. I'm not your daddy. I don't like that lady.
I don't like her one bit. But there is an update. Okay. I didn't think my post would get all of this attention. Well, but thank you all for the good wishes and words of comfort. I read all your comments and decided to follow some advice. First of all, I talked to Layla about my reaction to my mother. Layla raised me on the importance of communication and always pushing me to talk about my problems so I could solve them. So I see where her comment about my behavior came from and I understand it. But I also gave her my point of view, telling her that the situation my mother was explaining was too absurd and laughing is the only natural instinct that came to me. While my mother was talking at some point, I thought, is it a joke or some sort of bad prank? Is she making this all up? Because her BS was absolutely ridiculous. Layla said she understood me, and as many of you have told me, she just wanted me to understand that there will be situations in my life where I can't just laugh and hang up the phone, and she was just worried about my reaction.
Okay, but to be fair, that is 100% a situation where you can just laugh and hang
Yeah.
up the phone.
Yeah,
So
no,
these
that's like a
people are not
totally
giving you
valid
good
reaction.
advice.
I mean, yeah.
Just because you do it in this one context doesn't mean you're going to do it like when your boss calls you.
Yeah.
Don't laugh in your boss's face and hang up the phone.
Yeah, I feel like it's a different way to have that conversation. Anyway, we managed to clear the matter between us, and I'm happy. I had also talked to my dad about the phone call he had with my mom. Apparently, my mom had an excuse for everything. She said that Kira just wanted to do a nice sisterly gesture on my big day, that she wanted to share her hobby, riding horses, with me, and that she never thought my fish problem was a real problem, but just a whim, and the restaurant they had booked at made the best fish around.
Oh, that's cool. That's like saying that the doo-doo factory makes the best doo-doo around. I don't like it. It's doo-doo.
Don't like the doo-doo.
You can't make me like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just wanted her to enjoy my hobby. No, you silly little goose. On someone's birthday, you enjoy
their
hobbies.
Anyway, and that last one is a lie because when I was little, I threw up a couple times in front of my mom just because we went somewhere that smelled strongly of fish, so she knows very well it's a real issue for me. My dad retorted that nothing they had prepared had been done for me, that Kira had clearly planned the party for herself, and what kind of party was it for me if none of my important people were there? My mother didn't respond to this. She just started ranting that I was ungrateful and spoiled, so my father told her to go to heck and hung up the phone. Oh, yeah. Sick father. W dad.
That's why I wish there were still flip phones because it's so satisfying.
Yeah. You can just break your phone.
Well, yeah.
You go.
When you're
You
when you're
go,
trying to go
"Bye."
off grid.
And then you're done.
Yeah. Break your smartphone in half.
Yeah.
So
I never want to talk to you again. After hearing this, I decided to follow another piece of advice you gave me and wrote a message to my mother. This time, I decided to be mature and wrote the message in the most polite way possible. I apologize for laughing, but what she was saying was too ridiculous, so it was the only possible reaction from my side. I reminded her that she never put any effort into building a relationship with me, that she doesn't know me at all, and has never cared about getting to know me, and since the birthday party Kira organized only had things that Kira liked, they could enjoy it together with their family and friends. I also told her that her invitation to my pizza party was withdrawn. You're no longer invited to my birthday party.
you are no longer invited to Chuck E. Cheese.
And she shouldn't bother showing up since she had already made it clear with the last phone call what her priorities were. And now I was going to do it too. And she was absolutely not on my priority list. I already have Layla as a mother, and I can't be more happy with her. I concluded by wishing her well with her new family and asked her not to contact me again. Don't call me. Don't come by my house.
We're done.
Done. She read the message but didn't respond, and I'm fine with that. If she were to respond, I'm sure it would just be more complaints about me being ungrateful and spoiled, because I know that talking to her is useless. She would not understand or pretend not to understand, but clarifying things once and for all has put an end to our situation. At least on my side, I had a sort of closure, and I thank you all for that. I probably would have given up and ended contact with her after my 18th without saying anything. But your comments helped me understand that a firm end was necessary. For those who asked how my mom could throw me a surprise party when I wasn't with her, my dad asked her the same question, along with asking her how she could think he wouldn't throw me an 18th birthday party. My dad took it a bit personally, lol, and she said they had planned for Robert to come get me the morning of my birthday. So they just assumed that Opie was like, they're like, yeah, Opie's a loser. She's probably got nothing going on for her birthday.
Yeah, you just gotta love the
audacity.
the loving care of family at all times. Yeah, all these people are guilty of are trying to throw OP a party.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. This isn't hard mode. These people suck.
These people freaking suck.
Yeah,
They're just trying to throw her a party. No.
When you have, it doesn't matter what the nature of the relationship is. If you have relationships in your life that don't serve you and are actively a negative force, you can feel free to cut them off.
Yeah.
Please.
So true. Explain the situation to Dad and Layla, and then take me to my mom's house under some pretense. Honestly, I don't know how it would have worked. I would have flat out refused to go to my mother's if it wasn't our set days. No matter what excuse they would have made up. And most of all, I would never have left Layla and Dad to go to my mom's on my 18th birthday. It would have been one thing if my mother and I had a good relationship, but that was definitely not the case. In all of this, the only person I don't feel like blaming is Robert. We never had a close relationship, but he was always polite to me when we lived under the same roof. He even cleared out his study so I could have a permanent room in his house when I went to my mother's. That's nice of Robert. We didn't develop any stepdaughter-stepfather bond, but he always tried to be kind to me, so I don't blame him for any of this. It's likely that he really thinks the party is for me. We don't know each other well enough for him to know my tastes unless my mother told him, which I highly doubt she did. Luckily, I didn't leave anything of mine at my mother's house either. All of my things are here at my father's house permanently. Usually, I would unpack my suitcase when I went to my mother's with the things I needed for those days, and then bring them back when I went back to my father's. I never felt safe leaving anything to her because Robert's family and Kira's friends came over often, and I didn't want to leave anything of mine out in the open to strangers. But I want to put it out in the open that you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok.
Bang.
Just tap the profile.
And Twitch. Don't forget, someone's got to keep
there's 4
Jaliba
Twitch users
company over there on Twitch.
But there is a little bit left to the story. But do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I kind of already said, like, people can be really hesitant to cut off their relationships when it's like family or something, but it's like these people are, I don't know, it just sounds like your mom in particular just like doesn't
Sucks.
It's always a big red flag when people just like don't let you have negative thoughts or opinions.
Yeah, like every
And they
negative
make it
thought and appearance, the feeling is like immature. Someone said that
Right.
earlier.
Yeah, where it's like it goes back to you. It's like actually it's your fault for feeling that way. It's like, is it though?
Like what did you do to cause that?
Yeah.
Emotion?
But yeah, that's, I think we all know who's in the right and who's in the wrong in this story.
I think we all know. But there's a little bit left. Well, that's it for now. I hope my mom respects my wish to go no contact and doesn't bother me anymore after that. I'd also like to bring up the adoption conversation with Layla after the holidays. She seemed really happy when we first talked about it. That's lovely. And also that's like really, it's nice because, I mean, OP's almost about to turn 18 with his birthday, and so the adoption is really just kind of this symbolic thing, but it's really beautiful. It's like beautiful. I want you to be my mom.
A nice little cherry.
Thanks again, everyone, for your kind words and advice. Your insights have helped me better manage the situation. I can understand that I'm still a little immature, but I feel that this experience has helped me grow a little more and see the issue from other points of view. All the best for you guys. And that is the end of that story.
Wow, no gals at the end of that?
No, just
she's
the guys.
only wishing the best for guys.
Just for the guys.
I refused to help my fiance with her daughter, and now she's spewing lies.
Yeah. Get your spew out of here.
Blech, blech, blech. The earth is flat. I am a 27-year-old man and my fiance is 30. We've been together for nearly 4 years. I have a 6-year-old son and she has an 11-year-old daughter from previous relationships. Up until now, we've never had any issues regarding the children.
Think of the children.
By the way, this comes from user embarrassed basis 160 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, yesterday, her daughter was set to go on a camping trip for a friend's birthday where they'd be doing activities like kayaking. My fiancé dressed her in a dress, and I mentioned to her that it didn't seem like the right choice for the occasion. She seemed offended and said her daughter could wear whatever she liked and that it wasn't a man's place to judge. I tried to clarify what I meant, but she cut me off, saying, "She's my daughter, not yours."
That's really annoying.
That is annoying, especially
That
when
is-
you're like,
yeah.
did you misread the kayaking note?
No, it's like it seems like OP wasn't being like, you need to tell your daughter to change. This is totally inappropriate. It was just like,
Like-
hey, like I don't know if a dress is gonna be the best fit for kayaking.
I took my son to a pre-planned match when my fiance rang me. It turned out the birthday girl's mom had told her daughter she couldn't go in a dress and needed to wear a tracksuit or something similar, so they didn't let her on the bus.
And that's what OP warned them about.
Hey, look at that, the consequences of your actions.
It's like she wears flip-flops to,
flip-flops to football
the
practice.
lab. Or, okay, yeah, that works
Yeah.
too. To a place where you can't wear flip-flops.
My fiance then asked if I could leave the match early to drive her daughter to the activity center. I replied, "Why should I? She's not my daughter, and I'm here with my son. Neither of us are talking now. I do pity for my stepdaughter, and I wasn't being spiteful. A little bit. My son was looking forward to it, and it would be about 4 hours of travel. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, you both are.
Just, yeah, a little bit.
Both
Yeah.
are a little bit. But,
I think, yeah.
at the same time,
I
it's
don't
like,
think it's anything that a conversation can fix.
I think your response is what made you the a-hole,
Yes.
not necessarily that you weren't able to do it.
No, yeah,
It
that's
was the
not
way that
a-hole.
you said it that made you kind of a-hole-y.
I agree.
Because you would also be an a-hole if you just ditched your son at his own match.
Yeah.
Like that would
Yeah,
suck.
your action was not a-hole-ish, but your response.
So we do have an edit. From what I get, I was a bit of an a-hole and she was a bigger a-hole. So I'm going to try to talk it out and see what we both want. Relevant comments. Reasonable Ruin 3760 says, "Who sends a girl kayaking in a dress?"
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, someone who's never been kayaking is who wears a dress to go kayaking. Prize Crow 1396 says, "I've never been kayaking either, but common sense still tells me that a child in a dress is wildly inappropriate for that activity." Yeah.
And also they have like things online, presumably of like, this is what you should wear to the kayaking thing.
Frankie File says, "You'd be amazed how scarce a resource common sense is." Mango Saint Juice says, "Not the a-hole. You tried to help her and she told you to butt out. Make sure you get your apology." OP says, "Yeah, I'd say I'll be waiting for an apology." Belazelle says, "Dollars to donuts, you'll be waiting for a while. I'm going to say this just in case. While waiting to be sure to spend time with your stepdaughter, don't let her get caught in the middle between you and her mom butting heads, regardless of who's the a-hole." I mean, it's not you, but that's irrelevant. She doesn't need this crap. Well, I mean, it's kind of, I don't agree with that. I think it was both, but at the same time, yeah. OP says, "Yeah, I'm taking her and my son to the camp next weekend instead. We won't do the camping part, but we'll do the activities. That's, of course, if I'm allowed to take her. My fiance is obviously invited too, but only if she wears a dress." I'm joking. Blooming 607 says, "It's clear your fiance misinterpreted your intentions. You weren't attacking her or her daughter. You just saw a practical issue with the outfit. If she had dressed her daughter appropriately in the first place, you wouldn't have needed to comment at all. But instead of recognizing that, she got defensive and made it about you, which just made things worse. If she'd taken a second to hear you out, instead of taking offense, maybe the whole situation could have been avoided. Not the a-hole. She can't be a snarky person and still expect you to help. She made her choice and choices have consequences. The relationship isn't lasting much longer, LOL. And good, she sounds like a red flag." OP says, "Yeah, I didn't want to sound like a drama queen, but I'm very surprised what she said and questioning some stuff. I see my stepdaughter as my daughter and would have expected the same with her and my son. I'm not saying I don't have a favorite child, but I love them both. Judgment, fiance is the bigger a-hole, but OP still a little bit
Okay, boo. But there is an update.
There is a little bit of stink,
Yeah.
but we got to update, and let's see who gets the most stink in the update.
Stinkiest.
I had a conversation with my fiance, and she asked why I would say something so hurtful. I replied I was just repeating what she had said to me earlier.
Yeah, it's a little bit hypocritical.
Come
of her.
on. Red flag. There it is again. Where are flags? Grab those flags. Get the flags. We're getting more visual humor. Get them. For
Red
waving the
flag.
red flag. Red flag. She then asked if I love her daughter, and I said I did. She asked if it was as much as I loved my son, and I responded almost as much. She got cranky. I asked her if she loved my son. She said no. What? What?
Wait, what?
I asked her if she loved me, and her answer was sort of.
What?
I'm just gonna keep this red flag tucked behind my ear, because that is the biggest red flag.
That's crazy.
Answer.
Well,
I don't
then
care
you just
how
leave.
upset you are. If you say
Sort
that, you
of?
better be ready to never see that person
Sort
again.
of. Well, I sort of want to break up with you.
Yeah, come on. She started crying, woke up her daughter, and told her they had to leave, even though I hadn't told them to go.
Like, girlie, you did that.
Dude.
Why are you crying? She's like, no, I don't love you.
Get up, daughter. We're leaving.
We're getting out of here.
I don't love this man. And I don't love his child.
I hate his son. God.
I said we could talk about it tomorrow, but she insisted, saying he doesn't want us anymore. I told her that I never said that. Her daughter began crying and didn't want to leave, but her mother said, don't let me leave on my own.
Oh my God.
Yo,
Where are they even
the mom-
going?
she's going through like a mental breakdown
She
right now.
gotta be. Where are they
like,
even going?
How do you say that to your own kid? First you tell him, I don't love your son. I also barely even love you. And you're like, daughter, if you don't come with me now, I will literally leave you here. He doesn't want you. I reassured them both that they were welcome to stay. My fiance decided to leave without her daughter, and now she's not answering. When I spoke to my daughter's father, he just laughed and said she couldn't even hold off on the crazy until after the wedding.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah. Comments.
She's crazy. She cray.
She do be. Fancy average 5440. That poor 11-year-old girl. This won't be the last time she has her life uprooted by her unstable mother. Brief candidate 3019. Sounds like you have a good relationship with her ex. Listen to him. Yeah, yes. OP, yeah, despite his lack of presence in his daughter's life, he's not a bad guy, although perhaps my judge of character isn't the best. Wait, before I get on to this next comment, yeah, I think your judge of character isn't the best, because that didn't come off to me as, he's actually a pretty good guy. He called you and laughed and was like, yeah, my ex-wife's crazy. She couldn't even hold it in until after she married you, stupid.
We're getting too much. We're giving too much credit to the ex.
Yeah, no, that
Making fun of you.
Yeah, he made fun of you and is also a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
So no, he's not a good guy. Moving on. Last Unicorn 76 says she flat out told you she doesn't love your son and she sort of loves you. Wow, you avoided even more drama than was starting to brew. You and your boy deserve so much better than a no and a sort of. OP says my son is very upset by her going. Her daughter less so. Apparently, I don't toast Pop-Tarts as well as she did, according to my son. Brewdog drinker, bullet dodged. OP says bullet dodged until she remembers her daughter's still living with me. One last visit of crazy, and when she decides to collect her.
She just left her daughter there.
Yeah, a better fox says, you aren't the daughter's legal guardian. You should contact authorities. If she's this manipulative, she's likely willing to build up a story of how you kept her daughter. I'd contact CPS or an attorney ASAP. OP says CPS has been contacted. He tried getting through to her and did not succeed. Her father gave permission for her to stay with me as per CPS. Honestly, not even thinking beyond tomorrow at this stage. She's with me for the foreseeable future. I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'd imagine her mother will have every right when she returns, sadly, to take her back. OP on the dad. Yeah, despite his lack of presence in his daughter's life, he's not a bad guy, although perhaps my judge of character isn't the best, which you've already,
Very established.
I would imagine the mother didn't help, but no, he runs from responsibility. One of the first times I met him, he was shocked I was a single dad. His wise words were adoption exists. Relation Mammoth 01 says, you said she's much nicer in your OG post, but it doesn't sound like it. Sounds like you've been putting up with crap and somehow making it work and maybe even being in denial. I just feel bad for the daughter. OP says, maybe I was. I have a feeling she has a guy lined up, and that's just how it switched so quickly, but who knows? They're having a PJ day today. She's definitely sad, but I'm sure there's more crap to follow. Oh, well, don't worry. PJ Day will turn it around. Pajama Day at school was always so much fun. I liked PJ Day.
I did. Yeah.
Anyway, update number 2. I told my fiance my stepdaughter isn't mine, and I'm not sure if you've forgotten all about me, but I'll start with some good news. We finally figured out how to toast Pop-Tarts properly for my son.
Ayo!
Good
I
job.
bet it's
Hey.
just toasting them a little bit longer.
I'm getting rid of the red flag because you know how to toast Pop-Tarts. We had about 2 weeks of calm. During that time, I spoke to my stepdaughter a few times about everything. I reassured her that no matter what happens, she'll always be my girl. Get the green flag. Get the green flag. That's a green flag. That's a green flag.
How sweet. Oh,
Yes.
this is not OP's child. And he is just like being so incredibly lovely and supportive of her when she's literally been abandoned by her mom.
Indeed.
And her dad also. Her dad was like, yeah, you could just kind of take her.
Why would you even take that one? You can just adopt somebody. Or was the dad trying to say that he can adopt his daughter?
I have no idea. I missed that.
Is that what he was trying to say? Which, again, what a deadbeat dad. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything with her. You can adopt her if you want. I don't even care.
Like her.
Ugh. Okay. She told me she hoped her mom wouldn't come back. She says her mom was controlling. Then a few days ago, my ex-fiance walked into my house carrying 2 grocery bags, acting as if nothing happened.
There it goes.
She asked me what I wanted for dinner. I told the kids to go to their rooms, and I confronted her. I told her that we're over. She asked why. And when I didn't respond, she said couples fight, as if her actions were normal. This behavior was unsettling. I told her she needed to leave or I'd call the police. She asked why I was doing this to her. I was at a loss for words, so I picked up my phone. At that point, she backed down, saying, okay, let me get my daughter. I told her if she wanted her daughter, she needed to call CPS and explain why she had disappeared for 2 weeks. She insisted she had only been gone for 1 night.
Is she having a breakdown?
Actually, like, straight up had an episode.
Like, what? She just...
There are certain, like, mental
where you lose
disorders
days
where
and
it's like
stuff.
you can actually black out on days.
Yeah.
She might also have, it could be a substance problem.
Or like bipolar.
Anyway, she refused to leave without her daughter and started shouting her name. Her daughter came out of her room and reluctantly said she would go with her. I told her, you have a place here for as long as you want. Her mother then said, he'll kick you out just like he's kicking me out.
You kicked yourself out.
You
literally
left.
You said,
by
I
yourself.
sort of love you, and then left.
Yeah, I hate your son. I don't love you. And by the way, you're kicking me out. I'm leaving. And the whole time he said, no, you don't have to leave. I stood my ground saying she could have her daughter back after speaking to CPS. When I started dialing the police, she ran out. But you know what? I don't want you to ever run out on us. Every 3 p.m. on the weekdays, you can tune in to our live streams on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. All you got to do is tap on our profile and you're in.
You're literally in.
But don't go anywhere yet. You could go ahead and check if we're live right now, but don't go anywhere because we've got thoughts.
Oh boy, do I have thoughts. Yeah, I think either it's some sort of mental health thing or a substance thing, but she's definitely having some sort of breakdown or episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's definitely a good idea to be like, you know what, you can call CPS to get your kid back. And it's such an angel move for you to be like, you know what, this is not my daughter, but this is like a child that I care a lot about. And I'm not going to just, not care about what happens to her. I'm going to make sure that she's safe.
Yeah.
And that's really, really stand-up guy move.
Yeah, and this proves also that thing that he said at the beginning of the story when he was on the phone with his now ex-fiance, when he was like, it's not even my daughter.
Yeah.
It's like that was just...
That wasn't even true. That was
that
just like...
he was just saying that
come
to
back.
get... He didn't feel that at all. He was just saying that to get at the ex-wife. So,
Yeah, no,
or
he
the
definitely
ex-fiance.
Which is really
So,
lovely to see.
Yeah, OP's a sweetie, and he may be too sweet for his own good because he's talking about how the ex-husband is also like a good guy, which he's clearly not.
Not a good guy.
So OP, I think you need to work on being able to see people's negative traits for what they are
Their true
instead of
colors.
sort of, I guess, brushing them aside.
Yep.
Anyway, later I talked to my stepdaughter. She said she was willing to leave because she didn't want to cause trouble for me. I reminded her that she's the child and I'm the adult, and it's my responsibility to look after her, not the other way around. I asked her where she wanted to stay for now, and she said she'd rather stay here.
Aw.
My ex-fiance ended up calling CPS. They reached out to me, and they were supposed to have a meeting yesterday with my fiance, but she didn't show up to it, apparently.
She's not what is she doing?
Yeah, she's got.
I mean, good for the little girl because I wouldn't want her to be with this
Mhm.
person when she's clearly having some sort of breakdown. But
I don't
what is
know.
going on?
We do have some comments. Maintenance short 4821 says, quite right. She wants her daughter so badly with her that she missed a CPS meeting. Hope your stepdaughter can stay with you. Darkstar 0915 says, doesn't this reflect badly on her for further dealings, like deeming her an unfit parent and taking custody of her daughter? OP is her fiance. If custody is given, it would be to next of kin, the stepdaughter's father, unless he feels like his daughter is much safer with you and happier than with him, then OP can fight for the custody. I'm not sure the legalities of custody matters. Yeah, it's like, and the actual dad doesn't even care.
Doesn't
about
even
the
care. He's
daughter.
not even trying.
Comments kind of reaffirming that it doesn't always have to be next of kin.
But that's the end of that story.
Yeah. So yes, that is the end of that story.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I think it's really, really great that you stepped up, OP.
no, I did the right move. I'm glad that she's not there, destabilizing her child anymore, or being a negative influence on your son, who she
Yeah.
said she literally doesn't even have any love for in the first place. So yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to get married to somebody who doesn't love your child.
No. That's a prerequisite. I need to tell my landlord I'm moving out, but she's my stepmom. My 24 female stepmom, 62 female, has been in my life since I was 14. She met my dad, 54 male, in 2012 and they started dating. Stepmom was married to another man at the time, but it was mostly a marriage of convenience. He bought her a new house, paid off her 2 family homes, bought her 4 cars, did any remodeling/upkeep at her home, and fixed anything that broke. He passed in 2020. She and my dad then went on to marry in 2021. Since I was living with my dad at the time, they gave me the option to move into my stepmom's house with them. I couldn't afford to live on my own at that point in my life, so I was super grateful and felt blessed. Not long after, things went downhill, as they always do.
As they always do on Reddit.
By the way, this comes from Anxious Seal 664 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, I was paying to inhabit the home, a small portion of rent, quote unquote, paid off house, as well as the utilities. I wasn't mad about paying to live there. I expected it and was still appreciative. However, my stepmom started treating me like an on-call cook and maid. And again, OP is paying rent.
Mm-hmm.
I was to not only cook and clean, but she nitpicked everything and it was never good enough. I also worked full-time. My stepmom doesn't work and my dad works part-time. So sometimes after working a full day at work, I'd have to come home to cook and clean. I was exhausted and quickly becoming burnt out. After many arguments in which it was my parents versus me, where I was constantly gaslit, I ended up having a small breakdown. My birth mother was abusive, so it was a triggering situation for me. And I moved out to some apartments. Our relationship improved when I was no longer under her roof.
Oh, with the
Stepmom.
okay.
Which I think is a good, I think
like
that's
the current.
the current
living
situation. She
Okay.
moved out.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
seems
which
like
I think is the best solution here because it's not, especially if you're paying rent to them, it's not fair for them to treat you like the maid/cook.
Especially if like you never agreed.
Yeah, you never agreed that.
Take on that responsibility.
8 months later, the ceiling in my apartment collapsed due to a leak from the upstairs neighbor after being ignored/not taken seriously by maintenance for months.
Oh,
There was mold and asbestos everywhere. The apartment stunk. The AC had went out. I was there with my 2 kittens and concerned for our health and safety. So I planned to break the lease and move. This is where my stepmom comes back in.
Oh no.
Yeah. So this was the apartment. Oh, I see. I was like, what happened to the mold? But the ceiling collapsed. So there was a whole
and
thing.
There was mold.
Which in that case, they absolutely should have, your landlord should have provided you with another place to live while that was being fixed. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that seems right.
One of her family homes, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, also located in the worst part of town, was empty. And she offered to rent it to me for $350 a month?
I'm with that.
Cheap. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, since we're family. I walked through the house. It was disgusting. Oh,
Oh.
that sucks. Dang.
But 350 though.
Previous tenant was her cousin, who was not only a smoker, but elderly
Oh.
and on fixed income, so he never cleaned and couldn't afford to have someone clean the home. It reeked of cig smoke. Walls, floors, appliances were yellow due to nicotine staining. There were roaches everywhere also. I take it back.
Yeah,
I take it back. I'm sorry. I don't want to live here.
You could clean most things, but like
Cigarette smoke
smell?
is hard.
Yeah.
Cigarette smell and like cat
and
pee. It's hard to get out.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I agreed to move in since it was cheap rent and I needed somewhere to go. But before I could, she informed me I would be paying $550 a month as opposed to the $350. She just switch it up?
You can't just switch it up.
I would be responsible. Ming Ming says 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and a demon in the cabinet. I would be responsible for the cleaning of the home.
Whoa, Tia. Sorry, I had a bad rental experience that ended with me spending a night in jail. Submit that story.
Yeah, please. I'm so frustrated already. OP's just said not only do they have to pay more, but they also have to clean the home of the nicotine and the smoke.
Gross, man.
Oh my God. Now, at this point, my apartment knew I was leaving and I didn't have any other options, so I accepted. I spent so much of my own money to clean the home and bomb/spray for pests. It took me nearly a year to be
Whoa.
completely rid of roaches and get things clean enough to where my skin wouldn't crawl. Oh my God.
Gross. I mean, with
Oh
that
my
much
God.
effort and that much money, I feel like you could have just found another place.
Yeah,
hopefully.
honestly. This home was also built in the 50s and probably hasn't seen any sort of remodel since the 70s. No big deal, just figured I'd mention this isn't the nicest home and it's in a terrible part of town.
2 years.
I've been here for 2 years now. We've never wrote up or signed an official lease, but I pay her on the first of every month and act as a tenant. You need to get that official lease. I literally, everyone in the comments, everyone watching, if you ever are renting out a place, you need a lease. I don't care if it's your family. I don't care if it's your friend. Get a lease. Get it written up.
So they said
Always.
they never got on a lease?
Never got a lease.
Dude, they've been there 2 years.
You need a lease. The rent has gone up twice. I understand this economy is not fit for anything inexpensive, but I felt scammed as this is my family.
Yeah.
whole point was they were like,
the
oh,
20% rent
yeah.
increase that's standard. She's like, Mom, I'm your daughter. What do you...
Mom, I thought you wanted
Yeah.
roommates. In the past 6 months, I have been accused of stealing money. I have had to house people/pets at her will with no compensation or heads up. And just recently, the AC went out and I paid for the repairs and she was not present at the time of the repair. When I sent her a copy of the bill and called to ask if it would be deducted from rent, she lost it on me and basically said, as a landlord in Tennessee, I am not required to have functioning AC in my rental, no matter how hot it is.
What?
Your stepmom sucks.
Yeah, it's like family. And she's like,
Yeah.
by law, I'm not required to have an
required.
AC.
At this point, I think you need to start writing up how much money this is costing you and seeing if there's a cheaper room.
Dude, Ming Ming, these jokes are hitting. Roach is his butler. That's hilarious. Demon is roommate. Funny.
Not only was I upset about covering the repair, I was hurt at how she was treating me. I'm her family, and she couldn't care less if I'm living in her 90-degree house with my cats. A few days later, she was charged $125 by her home insurance as a deductible for the repair, and she sent it to me, upset she had to pay for it.
Pay for what?
The repair for the home insurance. And informed me she would be canceling her homeowner's insurance, and if something broke or went wrong, we just have to deal with it.
Move out. Like,
Literally,
you've
you
been
have
there
to get out of
2
there.
years. Move out.
I took this as I'd have to deal with it. Now, I found an apartment in a nicer part of town that is closer to my job for only $200 more than she charges me a month. That's great. Go there.
Do you have roaches as roommates?
Yeah. It's like, truly, if you have that money, leave.
Yeah.
Leave.
Get out of that. Get out of the house
Yeah.
and get out of that situation
Yes.
slash
Don't
relationship
touch your mom.
with your mom. I mean, not the
Yeah.
relationship as a whole, but like that transactional relationship.
Yeah.
It is not helping.
I am truly grateful for the opportunity to live in this home and rent from her, but I'm ready for our relationship to be just mother-daughter
Yeah.
again. This landlord-tenant relationship does nothing but stress me out and make me feel like I'm constantly on eggshells or in survival mode, because if I don't comply with what she wants, this is her home and she can rip the rug out from under me. She said at one point if I was still in this home when she passed, she would leave it to me. But honestly, I think my peace of mind is more important. It absolutely
And
is.
do you want that house?
Yeah, do you even want that house?
Seems gross.
I don't know how much more I can take being in this position. I just don't know how to tell her I'm leaving without her being upset. All my friends are saying to give her no notice and simply tell her once I'm gone, but I have a big heart and I worry about others' feelings, and I don't want her feeling blindsided and betrayed. But she does not care about you.
Yeah.
I think
But if you want a relationship with her and it seems
but
like
does
she,
OP want a relationship?
it does. She does.
Well, I guess in that last part, I
She's
don't want to
saying, I
blindside her.
want a
Yeah.
mother-daughter relationship now. If you want a mother-daughter relationship, take the higher road
Mhm.
and
Be
Just tell her like,
respectful.
hey, I'm moving out. But like, make sure you have that place all in order.
Yeah.
Like that you have the exit strategy.
Yeah.
But we would never blindside or betray you if you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit left. But I think maybe, I don't know, what's like the normal 30 days in advance or something?
I think.
On TBC. Well, I think roughly like a month in advance, just say, hey, I have this place that I'm going to be moving into. I wanted to let you know.
Actually, legally, it depends on the contract, but there's no contract.
There's no contract. So
I
it doesn't
think
matter.
it's like at this
Just
point,
courtesy.
it's the question of like what would feel like courtesy to your
Yeah.
parent that you want to have a relationship with.
Yeah. Any advice on how to approach the situation and how I should tell her I'm leaving? Again, no lease/contract. I've been here 2 years with mail bills coming to this house, so technically I don't owe her a notice, but I don't want it backfiring if I leave and spring it on her. I'm just so torn. Any advice is appreciated.
I'm confused why you're torn. Like, why is it a mean or a bad thing to move to a different location?
You're literally just moving out. You, again, signed literally no lease.
People move.
If you want to do the easiest thing, it's just like 30 days in advance.
Yeah,
Just give her a heads
Eliana, that's what Eliana is saying.
Mhm.
A contract is generally month to month with no lease.
Yeah. So I think that's what you do.
My stepsister hates me. She says I stole her true love.
You done stole her man.
I, 29 female, was an affair baby between my mom and dad. My mom was already married to my stepdad and had my half-sister, 32 female, whose name will be R.
No, well, what will it be? Rebecca?
Rebecca. We'll do Rebecca. Rebecca has always hated me for some unknown reasons. By the way, this comes from Bob Haircut Elias on the RSOK Storytime subreddit. So I never gave her any reasons to hate me as we grew up together. She just did. Growing up, I spent a lot more time with my mom than my dad, who traveled a lot due to his work, but when he was in town, I always took the opportunity. It was the only time I could be away from my stepdad and Rebecca. Rebecca would always do terrible things to me. She would destroy my things, gifts, and souvenirs my dad would send by mail would go to the trash. It was so bad that when I was about to enter high school, she cut off my hair when I was sleeping, and I had to get a bob cut which reached my chin, my nose if styled. My mom scolded her, and stepdad enabled her even more, patting her on the back for a good job when mom wasn't looking.
No, you did not.
In high school, I was in a graphic design class, and that's how I met Rebecca's one true love. At first greetings, I didn't know. I would stay after school to finish in-class assignments for the class, and he would be there too to use the computers to do some drawings he had saved on the computer. The computer he used was right next to mine, so we sat together when we stay. The computer he used was right next to mine, so we sat together when I would stay. We spoke once, where he said he liked my hairstyle. I was the only girl in school with really short hair, so I did stand out a bit. One day, my sister came to spy on him, and she was furious seeing me sit next to him. She was so mad that when we got home, she slapped me on the face, accusing me of wanting to steal him. After that incident, I tried to stay away from him, not wanting to deal with her craziness. Thankfully, I only had to endure her for another year before she went off to college. My first year of college, my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer and was told he had that year, 2013, to live.
Dang.
My mother got news and told stepdad and Rebecca. Rebecca, in response, sent me a video she took from a TV show I've been told was called Shameless, where there's a blonde girl peeing on a man's tombstone with a text saying, "Can't wait for that MF to die. Be gone. Have fun cleaning the mess I'm going to make." Where she put another pic, which was poop. Wow, your sister's the best, dude. What the
Dude, Rebecca.
That was literally the craziest thing I have ever read on this show.
Yeah, that is one of the most godless, unholy ways you could ever respond.
I was so furious and disgusted that someone like her existed. Someone who would be so happy to see someone's life end. My second year was rough as my dad died a few days before school started. In the end, he left me with money that would help for the years to come and a few properties I rented to make extra cash. Wondering if she actually did it. Yep. Sent another video for proof.
There's no freaking way that they're talking about what I think they're talking about, right?
Yeah, they're talking about that.
No, there's no way.
She did that.
She did not do that. That's also, you go to jail for that.
Well,
That's called like desecrating a grave. You can't do that.
I would send it to the police. Somehow I felt karma was real at the time. A few weeks after that, I ended up bumping into the guy she was obsessed with and still is, and went to hang out with my friend who went to the same college as him. We spoke briefly until my friend came and we left. A few days after that, my friend told me the guy she saw asked for my info and she gave him my Snapchat, knowing if I wanted to talk to him, she would give him an app I don't use anymore. I'm going to be honest, when she told me this, I so wanted to use him and get back at my sister for knowing how much she loved him. But I know how it feels to be so hurt, and so I added him on Snapchat and texted him to meet at a coffee shop. When we met at our local coffee shop, I was honest with him on why I reached out and told him how crazy Rebecca is. He wasn't surprised. He went on telling me the things she would pull on the girls he would talk to and how she would try to sabotage his relationship when they were in high school.
Wow.
To her telling them they slept together while speaking or in a relationship with those girls, she was having his kid and even saying he had an STD. Yeah, she's nuts.
Dude, what? That's the spectrum of your different, like, ridiculous lies is crazy.
I'm baffled at this woman. To keep this short, we stayed friends until a few months where we started dating, and we had a lot of similar hobbies, interests, and we think alike. He says it's the power of mind melt, Star Trek, seeing how we might as well be telepathic with one another. This year, we decided to get married, engaged for 3. Our jobs pay us really well in our respective fields where we can go big on our wedding. Now, here comes in Rebecca.
Oh, boy. What's Rebecca going to do, man?
Never have I ever just not wanted to know the ending of a story.
Oh, no.
I'm actually terrified, dude. Rebecca sadly still stalks my fiance. He isn't much of a social media person, so he doesn't post much, but where he does, it's on his Instagram story. He recently posted a picture of my hand with the engagement ring, capturing, "After 3 years, next up, the wedding ring." And yes, his Instagram is private, and he has her blocked, but there are a few people who will tell her friends, and they tell her. It can't be helped. Some people live for the drama. I don't talk to my mom as much as seeing how she wasn't much help when my sister would bully me or when my stepdad belittled me, but I do once a month for a few minutes. She had called me complaining how Rebecca was throwing a tantrum and how Jay, my fiance, was engaged and she doesn't know who the B is. That's when I got the idea. I'm going to tell her I know who the B is. Don't worry, Jay is fine with this. I had Rebecca blocked on social media and I unblocked her and made my Instagram public for this occasion. After unblocking her, I posted a picture of my nails without the ring and my nails that were exactly the same as the picture he put on his story. A few days later, I posted inspirational pictures of wedding invitation. Guess who'd seen them?
Ooh, still, oh my God, you're playing a dangerous game here.
Dude, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be getting restraining orders, man.
Yeah, first you got to get the restraining order locked down before you start messing with this kind of behavior because
and
you
then
are inciting the craziest person I've ever heard.
Yeah, and then I would go and Home Alone proof my house waiting for her.
You gotta set all kinds of traps.
A few days after I put that picture of myself with my friends dressed up with the caption, "My bridesmaids," and Jay a few hours later with his groomsmen with no caption, but he had the same background of the restaurant the picture was taken, and behold, I get the messages on Instagram where she demanded to know if I was the girl Jay was going to marry. She said things like, "No, he can never like a girl like you," and "You know how much he means to me." I left her on red.
Shay, first of all, shut up, bitch. You know how much he means to me. You're a monster. You literally defecated on her father's grave. You absolute goblin of a person.
Yesterday, I posted a picture of the two of us. The pictures were taken on Saturday, where we took his family out to inform them of our wedding plans and how they are officially invited with invitations given to them. I posted 3 pictures. One normal one is when we first started dating, when he proposed, and the one on Saturday with his family with the invitation in the air as they surrounded us. Caption being, "Proud to announce I'm getting married this year to the love of my life. Can't wait for a lifetime of blessings alongside you." I got messages an hour after I posted that from Rebecca that I didn't read and calls from which I declined. And I hope you never decline us every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live. Just tap our profile.
Yeah.
this girl is literally in trouble. I would not be inviting this kind of evilness to my home.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing a dangerous game, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I think you're getting like just the sweetest, like juiciest form of revenge that you possibly could against a person who's tormented you for a long time.
But after she does something horrible,
Well, maybe not though. Like, if you're anticipating it, you can get in front of it.
okay, you could get in front of it.
Because this person's not like a genius or anything. That's
This
not what it
person,
sounds like.
Like defecated on your dad's grave.
This person sounds like one of the dumbest people I've. Yeah, because you know how stupid you have to be to do that. Like, honestly.
Today, I went on Instagram and saw over 80 messages of insults from her. One being how ugly I looked with my short bob cut hair, which I cut for this occasion. Which I replied, interesting, Jay doesn't think so. Funny, actually, you know, Jay confessed to me after our second date that he thought my hair in high school, my Alice Coolin haircut, as you described it before, was the reason that grabbed his attention back then. He thought I looked very cute. Guess you had a reason to feel threatened at that time. He also found me attractive even then. After she read it, I made my account private and blocked her. Now I'm thinking about doing it again where we're getting married or changing my bio to his last name. Who knows? And there's a news report of her getting absolutely murdered by this woman.
No way.
Oh, dude.
No way. Did you look?
No, I didn't look, but
You
that's
gotta-
what I
you gotta
feel
hunt.
like.
No
We
way,
just
dude.
hunted. We just hunted. We saw. There was nothing else.
My stepmother is extremely controlling. Now she's refusing to let me drive my car.
Vroom, vroom, skirt. You can't drive your car.
For context,
How dare you bring in
I,
Nikki Darling?
16 female, and my twin brother, 16 male, obviously, have always been pretty close as siblings. Our dad, 41 male, has always been a bit of a nomad, a cheating piece of crap. And although we have 2 older sisters and a couple of older step siblings, my twin is the only thing I've ever been able to count on to be in my life. He is the only thing or person that I've never been separated from. By the way, this comes from Ashamed Air 2708 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So anyway, this problem that I have is not with him, but with my stepmom, 42 female. She has been with my dad off and on, hard to explain, for about 8 years now. I'm not going to go into details on their relationship, but basically the only reason my dad is with her is because she's convenient and pretty much free babysitter. She has always been extremely controlling of me and my siblings, and she didn't try for the first few months she lived with us, but everything pretty much exploded after that. She'd only have sons before we came into her life, more like she intruded into ours, and she kind of lost it when she realized she had an impressionable little daughter, Molt. Joke's on her, though. I had basically been taking care of myself since I was 6 years old because my dad didn't give a crap about his kids. So I wasn't as prideful as she initially expected. Anyways, to present times, we are currently living in a state very far from my 2 older sisters and the rest of the family.
Are you serious?
I'm thirsty, and I'm not allowed to have contact with any of them, and I totally follow that rule. I've made very good friends with a family that she used to be neighbors with. The mom is her only friend, and the dad thinks she's a piece of poop. They have 7 kids with mixed feelings, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be thinking right now. So basically, my stepmom, we'll call her Sharon, recently kind of helped me out in finding a car to buy for myself with my savings. I've been working for 2 years now and saving up 50% of my paychecks, although I didn't realize I was going to be using it to buy my own car. I've been hoping that my dad would be a good person for once in his gosh darn life and put the brakes on an old Jeep that we have sitting in our backyard that used to be my oldest stepbrother's car. It still runs fine, and I told him that I would pay for the new brakes, although he's the one that fed them up in the first place.
Oh, F them, yes.
He has been putting it off for 2 years now, and recently I got my license. I figured it was about time I had something to drive, and my dad tried offering me a rusted out old Camry that has been through 4 of my siblings, and my sister literally crashed into the side of a concrete barn. I told him that he could either make the Jeep a priority or tell me that I needed to find my own car. He didn't give me an answer, and so I told him I would buy my own car and be done with it. I didn't want his or my stepmom's names anywhere near my car anyways. She went behind my dad's back and found a green 2003 Prius for sale about 3 hours away from where we lived. It's not exactly a challenge to look at a screen and send a car to your stepdaughter, but thank you so much for your contribution. Anyways, I buy the car and she insists on having her name put with mine on the title. She didn't give me much of a choice since A, I wanted the car really badly after going to see it, and knew she would walk my booty out of the dealership and tell me to forget about driving if I said anything, and B, I didn't want to cause a scene in front of the sales guy, who was a really nice guy. Anyways, we get the car home and instantly take it over to the friend's house to have the dad, let's call him Jake, take a look at it. He is a mechanic and has his own shop right next to his house. He runs through it, and a few days later, I'm at his house hanging out with my best friend, who is his daughter, and he tells me that it's ready to take home. And mind you, I have my license at this point. I can legally drive the thing car if I want to drive the effing car. Plus, his house is 7 minutes down the road from mine. So I call Sharon and let her know the situation and basically tell her that I was planning on driving it home the next day after playing D&D with their kids. She yells at me for telling her and not asking her if it was okay. I tried to explain that I was mostly letting her know the situation and that I was planning on asking her if it was okay in person when I got home. She hung up on me.
You're supposed to be like, I'm co-signing the car so that you can get good credit and not be totally at fault if something goes wrong.
Not to control your car usage.
Yeah, not to be like, your car belongs to me for the evening. And thus your life belongs to me. Blah.
The next day rolls around and I haven't heard anything about it. If she's okay with me driving my car from their house until about 15 minutes before we had to leave, when she calls my twin to tell him that he's driving my car home and that if I have a problem with it, we can just leave it here and I can forget about driving it at all. I had a huge problem with that, as did everyone else. Allison, her best friend, told me that I need to talk to her about it and basically kind of emotionally manipulated me into doing so. I was just about to drop it to not make waves, and she told me that I sound like Sharon when I say that. I don't want to deal with the fight.
Jake so hurtful.
Advised me
Read.
every time she keeps something secret from my dad. Jake advised me to stay quiet about it and not make waves until I'm 18. He supports me in my decision to cut her off completely after that. Looking back, he was completely right, and I shouldn't have listened to Allison's advice, although she meant well and thought it would pan out, but okay. Anyways, I went home and walked in the door. She was sitting on the floor playing video games. I'd like to point out that I never usually say anything to her when I first walk in. I usually go about my business and take care of my crap. Anyways, I go to my room, begin putting my clothes away that were on my bed so that I could get to bed early, and also because it takes me a long time to work up the courage to tell my parents that I need to have talks with them about stuff. After 10 minutes of psyching myself up, I finally am able to get the words out. I tell her that I need to talk to her in a bit. She replies with, if you have something to say, just say it. And I tell her that I'm a bit busy right now and I wanted to talk about it a bit later. She wanted the conversation to be a family spectacle when I clearly wanted to be in private.
Yeah, she's trying to juice up the drama numbers, and you're just trying to be like, I want to have a real conversation with you. She's like, not unless it makes everyone hate you.
Yeah, not unless it's on stream.
Yeah. Not unless it's streamed out.
About 15 minutes later, she got done playing video games and went to her room. My twin followed her and started talking to her about school stuff. I waited until the conversation seemed like it was almost finished before walking into the room. I sat down on the bed right next to her and waited for them to be done. My twin hadn't even exited the room before she turned to me and said, go ahead, throw your fit.
What a ballsy thing to say.
When I tell you I had to hold myself back from showing her what a fit really looked like. So I held myself back and tried to tell her that I was not comfortable with the fact that she had him drive my car even before I got to. I didn't even get 2 words out before she cut me off, literally screaming at me for being so selfish and self-absorbed and ungrateful for everything that she did for me. Like, B, you still owe me $2,000 that you borrowed because you don't have an effing job. Who's doing what for who here?
Talk yo ish. I
tried to explain to her that I didn't have a problem with him driving the car, but I did have one with the fact that I hadn't even had a chance to drive it yet at all. She was the one that test drove it. Anyway, she kept jumping on my booty every single time I opened my mouth. I think the most words I said at the time, the whole argument was 3. She kept calling me a B, saying I was a brat, the insult that pisses me off the effing most. She was even hitting the combos at one point. She called me a BE teenage brat who was throwing a fit because she couldn't share a car for 5 seconds.
Damn, she hit the combo of like You're one. You're two. You're both of these things. Let's combine that.
By the way, if you want to hit the combo of your life, you should join us live on YouTube every weekday, 3 p.m. PST. I just tap her profile. The reason that she gave me for why I wasn't allowed to drive my car home was because I wasn't on the insurance as a licensed driver yet. Guess what? Neither was my twin. The argument ended when she told me twice in a row that I was BS, and I completely lost it. The entire time, I was holding back tears of anger and hurt, but when I tell you, my eyes were completely dry when I screamed, our entire effing family is BS. I mean, Sahara-type dry, my dudes. Am I the a-hole for having a problem with this? Am I right in my decision to cut off contact after I turn 18? Also, it's been a few months since this happened, and I still haven't driven my car alone. She basically uses it as her personal vehicle. I have a huge problem because I'm paying for effing gas that she's using, and she still hasn't paid me back my $2K. It's completely whack that she's being manipulated like this. I hate this.
Here's my advice. You're legally on the paperwork as a registered owner of this vehicle. Steal this car from your lame family member and do not tell her where it is. I always say this when it comes to cutting off like family at an early age. I think you have this one family member who's like really, really like just lame. You can go like low/no contact with them. I wouldn't ever like, it's just hard when it comes to family. So it's hard when it comes to anything really to like close the door permanently.
Yeah.
A stepmom and OP need to have a legit like exhibition match in front of the family because apparently that's what the stepmom likes to do.
Yeah.
She likes to make the entire family weigh in on it. Nah, this is your car. Get your family on your side and then pressure your dad.
Well, the dad's basically saying like, wait until you're 18.
If she spent money on it, yeah.
That's my car.
Depending on how much you spent on it, it's like that's your car.
That's your car.
My stepmother is a monster. My father divorced her for it.
Rah! That was what happened.
There's pettiness, there's divorce, there's craziness, and there's just straight up worst stepmonster vibes ever. This happened a long time ago, but I still think you'll like it. By the way, this comes from Select Goat 5572. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I'll start somewhat from the beginning. My father met my ex-stepmonster at church because she was a church-going woman. Really, he was looking for a new wife to help raise my then 6-year-old half-sister, different moms. I was 19 at the time and couldn't take living with my dad anymore because he wanted me to be the mom to my sister. So I had moved out. Not long after, he proposed to, I'll call her Lilith, on their 6-month anniversary. At the time, he was determined to not sleep with any more women till he was married.
Oh, wait.
What?
Something happened there.
Okay.
What happened there?
Years later, he said he knew 2 weeks after the wedding that he'd made a huge mistake in marrying her. But he really wanted to be a good Christian, so he decided that divorce would not be a part of the equation. Lilith had a 10-year-old daughter who moved into the house with her. We'll call the daughter Emma. Emma fit right in with me and my sister, so much so that people thought Emma was my blood sister instead of the youngest, who we'll call Crystal. Many people thought Emma and Crystal were twins because Crystal was tall for her age and Emma was on the smaller side for hers. I did my best to always be around them and would visit once a week to take them out and do fun stuff. I got close to Lilith as well because I had no idea that people could be completely insane and evil on the inside and yet somehow always appear to be angelic on the outside. The truth was that she was the biggest liar, and for no apparent reason as to why. Don't worry, I'll tell you about the insane lies at the end. You'll totally think I'm lying. To give you a little more context on the angelic side of Lilith. She worked at a Christian publishing company and volunteered to serve lemonade and snacks after both services at their church. Sounds like a good person, right? It took me years of knowing her to realize that the reason she likely did both was because she wanted people to think she was a good person. But she also wanted all the gossip. Once she had the gossip, she would spread it in the most mean and vicious way possible. Her gossip was so bad, I actually blame her for me giving birth to my first child 6 weeks before the due date. She had been gossiping about me, and when I tried to defend myself to the stranger who told me some horrible things about my life, the stranger then told Lilith something. I don't know exactly what. But the day my oldest was born, Lilith came at me aggressively, demanding to know why I was talking crap about her, which I had not been. I quickly went home, and within an hour, my blood pressure shot up so much, my water broke. I forgot OP was pregnant.
Wow.
Dang, man.
Wow, that the blood pressure can just make the water sploosh out of there. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
if you get too crazy.
Get too riled up.
Riled up.
Your body's just like, all right, we're having that baby.
Pregnant. Fast forward 4 years. Emma is 14 and rebelling a bit, as teenagers do, but nothing truly terrible. She mostly wears heavy makeup and likes the goth look. The devil is in her.
The devil.
Lilith can't stand it and keeps making mean comments to Emma, which makes Emma make mean comments back. One day, they're in the car alone together, and Lilith gets pissed at whatever it was that Emma said. She took Emma to the nearest hospital, walked her in, and told the hospital staff, I don't want this kid anymore. She's now a ward of the state. Don't call me. Don't use my insurance. She's your problem now, and then tried to leave. What? Remember, Emma is her own flesh and blood, and instead of calling Emma's father, who had been fighting for custody of Emma all her life and losing over and over again, Lilith did this instead. Lilith is crazy. Call CPS.
Yeah, honestly,
CPS on her.
Lilith needs to like get checked by an authority.
I was the first person Lilith saw after doing this, and she told me this story. She just told you?
I guess like guilty people like need to get stuff off of their chest.
I was appalled. My reaction apparently didn't sit well with her because she changed her story and told people that Emma had chosen to go live with her father. I knew what she had really done, and I thought my dad did too, but he didn't know the story until about 6 years later. Really, why wouldn't I feel like that would be the first thing I'd go to my parent. I'd be like, dude, did you hear what she did?
Yeah.
Did you hear what she did?
Kind of almost a responsibility at that point, I feel like.
I heard Lilith tell the new version and just thought she regretted what she had done and was too embarrassed to tell the truth. I didn't know this next part at the time. I found out this next part about 7 years later when Emma told me, but basically the hospital did not allow Lilith to leave. They made her go into one room and Emma into another and tried to mediate between the two of them for about 2 hours. When it seemed like it wasn't working, they let Lilith go in and say goodbye to Emma. Lilith's words of goodbye were, I never should have had you. You are the biggest mistake of my life. I should have terminated you when I had the chance. And then she left Emma there. Emma did go live with her father after that. Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
That's like, you should go to jail for saying that
You
to
should.
a kid.
About an hour away from us. Another 3 years after that, I got married. When she met my future husband, she immediately nicknamed him Duh because she didn't think he was that smart, even though he was in college and she had never finished high school. Is this Lilith again? My sisters told me about this because Emma would visit occasionally on special holidays, and I always saw her when she did. It was no surprise Lilith had such a cruel nickname for him because she used cruel nicknames for many people in her life. But I was still pissed. I had already started to distance myself emotionally from her, and it only took 6 years to do it. One of the things that really made me build the wall was when she said to me and my then fiance's face, I give it 18 months. You guys will be divorced in 18 months.
Oh my God. She said the inside part
Which?
out loud.
Which?
That's crazy. That's a natural thing though, I feel like.
What?
Like, I mean, like not, maybe if it's, if it's like your best friend, it's like, you're not gonna be like, well, when are they going to get divorced? But it's like, if you're just like at a random wedding, it's like there's always like the conversation where it's like, so how long are they? You think they're gonna be together forever? Or like, how long are they gonna last?
I don't think I've had that conversation. Anyway, Lilith was an excellent seamstress who had made many wedding dresses and had always promised to make my wedding dress. When my now husband and I decided to get married, it was a fast decision and a fast wedding. We just went to Vegas and told whoever wanted to join to come along. She announced that she would have no time to make a dress because the date was too soon. I was okay with that, but I asked if she could at least hem my husband's pants. She said she could and pinned the pants the night we asked because we had them with us. Our wedding was roughly 4 weeks later, and she didn't bother to tell me until we were in Vegas that she hadn't had the time to hem his pants at all. She gave them to me with just the pins in the bottom.
Wow. Yeah.
I had my husband put them on and immediately realized that she had cut the pants too short and then repinned them so it looked like she hadn't done anything wrong. Needless to say, the night before the wedding, I was sitting by myself in a Vegas restaurant trying to hand stitch the edge of the pants in a way that wouldn't make my husband look stupid. She tried to cause some more drama at our reception, but it didn't work and she was pissed. I also found out later that even though I asked her to invite Emma because I didn't have Emma's dad's number and we didn't have cell phones back then, she lied to me and said Emma didn't want to come, but she actually never told Emma about the wedding. She also tried to stop my dad and Crystal from coming to my wedding as well, but my dad told her that wasn't gonna happen. Are you convinced yet at the monster bit? Ready for the petty? Pause. I would have, the second that this woman told me that she left my stepsister at a hospital and tried to get rid of her, I wouldn't have invited her to.
Normalize not
cut her
inviting
off.
people who act like actual villains
I would have cut
to
her off.
your important events.
This brings us to 9.5 years into my dad's marriage. One day in January, Lilith comes home from work and makes my dad a big steak dinner. As she puts it on the table in front of him, she says, "By the way, I'm quitting my job and you're going to support me. I'm just going to focus on the farm you bought for me and make and sell my farm goods. If you don't like it, too bad." Without commenting back, my dad eats the dinner, then goes into his office, prints out a piece of paper, comes back, sets the paper on the table in front of her, and says, "That's your half. I want a divorce." Finally!
Whoa,
9.5 years.
There it is.
He said, "I don't care if I'm a Catholic. I can't take it."
It's over.
He says, "If I'm going to hell for this, I was already there."
If I'm going to hell for this, it's better than this.
What began next was the most ridiculous pettiness I think I have ever experienced. For starters, neither one of them wanted to give up the sleep number bed. So they both slept in it, and my dad continued to sleep unclothed every night because that's what he did. He's like, "I can't stop. I know we're divorced. I can't stop."
I'm taking the bed. Now I'm taking the bed. Well, we'll see who gives up first. I'm going to stop showering and sleep with no clothes.
Using the sleep number remote, Lilith cranked up his side of the bed to the hardest setting and then hid the remote. She told me about this and I told my dad. He found the remote, fixed the bed, but left the remote where she hid it so she would continue to think she won and continue to sleep unclothed on his side of the bed.
You know that he's pulled that same trick so many times.
He had a hot tub and a pool. She dumped a massive amount of dirt into the filter, hoping to break the pump for the pool and hot tub since they were connected. The house has always been in my dad's name because he bought it before he met her and he made way more money than her. So she hid eggs around the house so that they would go bad after she moved out. She also shoved meat into the freezer holes of the fridge, which my dad never found out about because he passed away a couple of years after the divorce. But Crystal and I found out when he had the power to his house shut off and maggots suddenly started coming out of the empty freezer.
Freezer holes? How do you shove meat in the freezer holes? Help.
Who is this woman?
Help.
He gave her the farm that she loved and asked him to buy in exchange for her not getting his house, but she refused to move out. Their pettiness continued into February when she did the unforgivable. She picked up Crystal from the school one day after band practice. Crystal is 16 at this point in high school, and they were driving home together, taking one of the more remote roads. Lilith was grilling Crystal, basically fishing for anything she could use against her dad, and she was doing a bang-up job. She had Crystal in tears. Whatever Crystal said set Lilith off, and she stopped the car in the middle of the strawberry field and told Crystal to get out and walk home. Mind you, it was already dark outside and cold with no lights on that part of the road and a good 2 miles from the house. 2 miles with no payphones, no sidewalk, and no other people Crystal could have asked for help. Crystal did not have a cell phone back then or a jacket and cried the whole way home, terrified of every car that passed by, which would have been about 1 car every 5 minutes on that road.
Send this lady to jail. Yeah. Send her to jail.
Yeah. This is child endangerment.
For real. Jail.
My dad was pissed. He had Crystal stay at her grandmother's house and got an emergency court date within a couple of days. He told the judge that Lilith was a danger to his daughter, and the judge agreed.
Let's go.
The judge ordered Lilith to move out in 7 days, period. Dad abandoned the house during the 7 days, as did Crystal, while Lilith did the petty little pranks mentioned before. During that 7 days, Dad came home one day to find his truck backed up in the parking lot with the back hatch open. The truck had one of those camper covers, and when he looked in the back of the truck, his movie collection was piled as high as the tailgate in the truck. He has been collecting VHS movies for 15 years, and they were his pride and joy. He'd had them sorted by actor and built special shelves for them. As he was standing there, Lilith came out with another pile in her arms, saw him, looked him in the eye, and then shucked the videos into the back of the car. Dad ran to the house and saw that there were only 2 short shelves left of his 2,000-plus video collection. He grabbed an armful and ran out to the truck and threw it in the back, and so did she. They continued to do this until all the videos were off the shelves. Then, when they were done, he turned to her and said, "Now let's go get your DVD player." And she said, "Okay," and ran back into the house. What? Is he having like a breakdown? Dad closed the hatch on the truck, got in, and drove away with his movie collection, just laughing his butt off.
No, that's what it was.
Oh, he was.
She was like trying to steal
Yeah.
all his movies, and then
he
he's
just
like,
took
"All
them.
right, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Let's get all the movies in the truck. Oh, now all the movies are okay. Go get the DVD player."
That
And
is
then
pretty
as
funny.
soon as she went inside, he just said, and then he drove off.
You silly, silly woman. He was a real estate agent at the time, and he had listed a house only a couple blocks away. He parked the truck there, then walked back for his car, only to see a cop car there. He went around the corner, called the cops himself, was met by an officer, and explained the divorce situation. The police officer went with them, and Lilith immediately started screaming, "He stole my movie collection!" Dad said, "That's my movie collection." To which she replied, "Community property! Community property! Community property!" Dad's police officer told Dad to go into the house and get his belongings while he explained to the other officer what Dad had told him. A few minutes later, Dad came out with his sword collection in his arms, and Lilith started screaming, "Those are my swords!" Dad just looked at her and snidely said, "Community property." I wish I could say that had been the end, but it was a long and petty divorce. Now for the lies Lilith told.
First and foremost, this dad's really cool. That's
I mean,
funny.
besides the fact that he stayed with this woman for 9.5 years,
He's got tenacity,
he's
but this
control
guy,
in
this
other
guy
areas
has,
of his life.
this guy's got a VHS collection for like 2,000 like movies. That's crazy in alphabetical order by actor and or actress. Crazy, and he's got swords.
But everything.
You know
else
who
was
has
like,
one of those? My grandpa.
Oh, sick, man.
Your grandpa?
No.
Now for the lies Lilith told. Dad and I figured out everything as we compared stories during the divorce. There were a lot of lies, but the craziest one to me was how she told everyone that she had been in a coma when Emma was around 4 years old. She had pictures of Emma with short hair and said, "That was when I was in a coma. Emma freaked out and ripped out all of her hair, and I had to cut it short." Now, mind you, when I met my husband, he had actually been in a coma when he was a teenager from a car accident, and he has a track scar on his neck, which is somewhat common for coma patients. Lilith did not have one, but I figured it must have been a different kind of coma. She said she couldn't wear watches because coma patients had their magnetic poles altered from the coma, so watches would just not work on her.
What?
I didn't question it because I didn't really know anything about comas, and I didn't really care enough to look into it. But my husband can wear watches, he just doesn't like to. She told me she ended up in the coma when her ex-husband attacked her. But she told my dad and my aunt that she put herself in the coma when she was shearing one of her goats, cut her arm, and bled out, which we didn't even question even though she has no scars on her arms. As these things came to light, I reached out to Emma's dad because I had gotten Emma's phone number by then. I asked Emma's dad if Lilith had ever been in a coma, and he replied, if she was, where was Emma? I thought, good answer.
Right.
So I asked Lilith's mother, who replied, if she was, where was Emma? And where are you guys? Because you should be listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
That's true.
Search up OK Storytime.
Okay, story time.
There's a little bit left to this insane story.
Those are the craziest lies maybe I've ever heard.
So insane.
I was in a
so
coma
insane.
and my poles reversed, so watches don't work.
Like, what?
He's
What?
a time traveler's wife.
Also, were you in a coma or not?
It doesn't seem so.
Oh, like, and also, what is
You're
wrong?
crazy.
What is wrong? How do you end up this way?
How do you end up so just freaking crazy? So yeah, craziness. But I'm a people pleaser, so I was still trying to be her friend despite all of that. Until she tried to accuse my father of hitting her and even had the neighbors call an ambulance after she attacked my dad and sister on the front lawn one day. When she did that, I knew what her next play was, to accuse my dad of abuse in hopes of winning everything, and I was done. I told her not to call me again, and that was the last I heard from her. I do know, however, that she spread rumors about us to anyone who would listen. According to her, Emma passed away, which must have been strange when Emma moved back to town after my dad's death and people saw her. Crystal became a spicy sleep worker. So not true. And I am constantly being by my husband, who I've been married to for 22 years now. So yeah, this was a long time ago, but I still laugh about it. And that is the end of the story. Oh my God.
A long time ago in a life that is now far, far away from my home.
Please, I hope that you
Oh.
never have to see that lady again.
Isn't it crazy to think, like, you could just be driving down the street and then this woman is, like, in the car next to
Yeah, this insane woman could just be like right around the corner from me.
you. Just being like, one day I'm going to steal all those movies back.
I'll get those swords if it's the last thing I do.
I'll get those swords. I'll get my enchanted swords back if it's the last thing I do.
But man, oh man, that was the end of that
Wow.
story. That's the end of the episode.
If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.